Hello everybody, welcome back to the Dog Cooking Show, to the Dog Cooking Stream. If you're watching this live, it is currently Wednesday, May 15th. Wednesday, May 15th, 5 p.m. EDT, and I'm really excited about today's stream. I'm really excited about today's show. Hello to Jack, hello to Trash Can Cat Mom, hello to Serena Chess, hello to Two Dads Kissing, hello to Iliam, hello to Cardigo Mac, hello to Shy Chico. Welcome on in. It's good to have all of you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's good to see all of you. Welcome on in. Everybody, today we are going to be doing some pho. And as always, if you would like to see what we are doing, if you want to get like the full ingredient list, you can always type in exclamation mark menu. Also, welcome on in, Angie Bieber. Hello, hello, hello. It's lovely to have you. Okay, everybody, so let's talk a little bit about pho and why this is the dish that I'm going to be doing today. Well, rather, first let's do a recap of my day. I finally got enough sleep. I finally have enough energy in me, so I think today is going to be a pretty good, it's gonna be a pretty good show today. Okay, so pho. Pho is one of my favorite dishes. Pho is a lovely, beautiful Vietnamese noodle soup. Also, Red Shirt, welcome on in. It is lovely to have you. Pho is this really, really rich, delicious broth with so many different spices inside of it. Typically either beef or chicken. In today's case, we're gonna be doing a chicken pho, aka known as a Pho Ga, okay? And then it has like these really lovely, like bouncy vermicelli inside of it. And then it's served with Thai basil. It's served sometimes with cilantro. It's served with some type of citrus. It's served with either hoisin sauce or sriracha, and then some type of meat. Now, let's talk about this really quickly. I love pho. I love pho to death. Okay? However, I think that the most common type of pho that people make, right, well, rather the most common type of pho that people eat and the kind of pho that they go out for, pho made from beef, is completely and utterly impractical to make at home. I'm gonna say it again. Making pho from beef is impractical to make at home. Traditional beef pho is made with so many different cuts of beef and so many different kinds of bones. Also, welcome on in, Count JP, and to Avil Lani. Welcome on in. Making beef pho, guys, you need bone marrow, and you're gonna need beef shanks, and you're gonna need flank steak, and you're gonna need all these different cuts of beef, which, by the way, aren't all that cheap. Classically, they're referred to as scrap cuts. These are cheap cuts of beef, but in a home setting, you're paying upwards of $20, $30 just to be able to make one pot of soup. Not happening, unrealistic, impractical. However, that does not mean that all types of pho, that all types of this Vietnamese noodle soup are inaccessible to us. Okay? And that means that today we're gonna be doing a chicken pho, and we're gonna be doing it with a whole beautiful chicken, because this is the kind of a thing that you don't necessarily even need to go out for. This feels like a YouTube video or a movie. Well, Kid Perp, I'm happy to provide. It's lovely to have you. Also, welcome on in, Holkin. Okay, so everybody, today we're going to be starting off with a nice, big, beautiful whole chicken for the Pho Ga. As always, I really want to encourage all of you, and I want to hear a nice yes, chef, please and thank you. I need you all to get into the habit of buying whole chickens. Buying whole chickens not only is cheaper, I want to hear a nice yes, chef, please and thank you. Nice whole chickens. You get the byproduct, which is all the bones, which you can make into a really, really beautiful, lovely stock. Additionally, it is a little bit cheaper than if you were to buy each of the parts individually. That does depend if something is on sale or not, but guys, at the end of the day, a whole chicken, you get all of this amazing byproduct, you get to really transform it into something special, and so we'll be using the bones to make a stock, we'll be gently poaching the breasts, we'll be gently poaching the legs, we'll be putting the wings into the stock as well, and it's going to come out delicious. So, one big, beautiful whole chicken, and I'm going to teach you all how to break down a whole chicken. Butchering a chicken does not need to be difficult. It can be accessible in a home setting, and I'm going to show you and I'm going to teach you exactly how I want you to do it. So, my whole chicken's gonna go behind me, and then guys, we gotta talk about some of the aromatics for today. You can't have a pho without some onions. I have two big onions that are going to go into the stock, and then this onion is going to get sliced up for garnish, and then I also have some ginger, my friends. A nice big old chunk of ginger. Okay? And now, perhaps the most important part of pho, my friends, aside from the meat, aside from the chicken, it is all of the different spices that we will be using. If you want a full list, type in exclamation mark menu. But in today's case, we'll be using some clove, okay? We'll be using some star anise, some coriander seeds, okay? And then we also have behind me some cinnamon sticks and some fennel seeds. Okay, so we have a lot of really, really strong, beautiful flavors. It's going to be really, really yummy. How do you make Vietnamese rice noodle soup? I forgot. Okay, that was pretty good, Count JP. That was pretty good. You know what? Not bad at all. Okay, so we have that. Additionally, a really, really important component to everybody is some yellow rock sugar. This is for a really, really traditional pho. Now, what is the difference between yellow rock sugar versus just plain old white sugar? Well, this isn't fully refined, my friends. And because of the fact that it's not fully refined, means that it has some additional flavor. Plain old white sugar, although you can theoretically use it as a substitute here, it doesn't have the full flavor of rock sugar. So if you can find rock sugar or even like cane sugar, like sugar in the raw cane sugar, those would be really, really good. Otherwise, plain old white sugar, even though a lot of people on the internet would get upset at you for it, you can use that too. But also, these are really, really fun to just like kind of suckle on. It's like these fun little candies. Okay, so these fun little chunks of sugar. Okay. And then guys, last but not least, now I'm going to be breaking some tradition here. I am using these really, really thin rice vermicelli noodles instead of some of the wider ones that you would typically see in a pho. Why am I using this one? Well, the reason why I'm using this one is because this is what I already have at home. So I'm not going to go out of my way to buy rice noodles when I already have some, even if it's not going to be exactly the same thing. Okay, so we're breaking some tradition, we're breaking some convention, but it's still going to come out okay. Could I just use sugar and molasses? So Noodle guys, sugar and molasses is for brown sugar. In this case specifically, molasses might introduce some unnecessary flavors, maybe something a little too deep, something a little too caramelized. You could try it. I would just do plain old white sugar and then taste it with a drop of molasses and see if you like it, okay? But yeah, guys, so we have some of these vermicelli noodles. And then last but not least, we have some fish sauce. Because remember, you can't have Vietnamese food without fish sauce. Can I please get a yes chef from everybody watching? You cannot have Vietnamese food without fish sauce. It is essential. In my case, I'm using the squid brand because it's the cheapest, even though people prefer other brands and it gets, you know, there's a lot of fish sauces out there. Okay, so this is some Thai style fish sauce, I believe. This is the squid brand, and that's what I'll be using for today. Okay, so that was a lot of ingredients. Everybody, is it soup time? I think that it's going to be soup time in just a second. So let's do some housekeeping. First and foremost, guys, if you would like to support the cooking show, my goal is to be able to do this full time one day. And so you can type in @ Patreon if you would like to help directly financially support the stream. That is one of the best ways to do so. Okay. So we have a lot of things that we need to do. We have to do the broth, we have to poach the chicken, we have to do a lot of prep, and we have to char the vegetables, and so it's going to be lovely. Would Worcestershire sauce also work in this style of food? So 26 stacks. Even though Worcestershire sauce is a type of fish sauce, it's made out of fermented little fish, it unfortunately has a lot of spices. It has spices that are not typically found in the context of pho. It also, I believe, has some tomato in it, if I'm not mistaken. It just has a lot of flavors that are not indigenous to pho. So would it work in this style of food, specifically Vietnamese food? No. But if you wanted to do your own thing and make your own kind of soup, absolutely go for it. But a Worcestershire sauce would be a little bit too dissonant in the context of pho, and so I hope that answers your question. So, everybody, we are going to break down, we're going to butcher a whole chicken, and it's going to be easy. And this is something that I want all of you to get into the habit of doing. It is possible. You don't need to be a professionally trained butcher to break down a whole chicken. So let's go ahead and tie up my hair, and we are going to begin, my friends. So we have my cutting board all set up and ready to go. Okay, as always, a little moist paper towel under it to keep it nice and steady. And I will be putting on some gloves just because it makes my life a little bit easier. Okay, everybody, so let's go ahead and glove on up. That's one. And this is going to be number 2. Time to cut the keyboard. Liam, I don't think so. Maybe not yet. Maybe not today. Okay. And I got my gloves on. Lovely. So everybody, this is my whole chicken. And I want you all to take note of something. This whole chicken is sitting on a sheet tray with wire rack. Whenever you buy meat from the supermarket, air dry it, air dry it, air dry it. Think of the meat that you buy in plastic packages. Think of the meat that you get from the butcher counter. You bring it home and it's sopping wet. When meat is frozen, okay, and then it's thawed, because almost all meat in the supermarket has been previously frozen, it's going to slowly ooze out water from all of the ice crystals that were previously frozen inside. And the longer that meat sits out, the more water it actually ends up expelling. If it is inside of a plastic bag, if it is inside of a little box, okay, it is just going to keep on releasing liquid, it's going to be sopping wet, and it's going to be a mess to work with. You don't have to use a sheet tray and a wire rack. You could just put a chunk of meat on a plate. You can do this with steaks, you can do this with fish, you can do this with chicken. Anytime that I buy meat, and I'm going to say this again, anytime that I buy meat, I always air dry it in my fridge. Bacteria doesn't fly around, it doesn't work that way. As long as things aren't touching the chicken, it should be okay. Does everybody understand? Okay, I want to get a nice yes chef, please and thank you. So, everybody, I'm gonna have a little sip of water. So Slippy, you said a lot of people handle meat/barbecue with black gloves specifically. Well, let me tell you why. Specifically, the material of these are nitrile gloves. Nitrile gloves, they are the best kitchen glove material compared to latex and whatever the other one is. Okay, they're very nice and form-fitting. Now, why are they black gloves? Because I think this started off with a lot of like mukbang content, okay? Where like they would just like have like black gloves to eat it because it's kind of associated with fetish content slightly. I'm pretty sure that that's like what happened. In regards to like how popular black gloves ended up getting. It just kind of became associated with content. Anyways, point is, I like black gloves because they look cool. They look cool and it's one of my favorite colors. So that's why specifically black gloves, and people wear it just because that's what people do when they make content, okay? So, everybody, we got right here a nice big beautiful whole chicken, and it's gonna be so easy. We're never gonna be cutting through bone. Anybody can do this. And so Cannabis Poop, you would be surprised how much meat is actually frozen beforehand. So what kind of tattoos is the chicken getting? We'll find out in a second. But yeah guys, black gloves just look really cool. Okie dokie, so we have a whole chicken here. Let's talk about it. Okay, we have 2 breasts, we have 2 legs, 2 thighs, and 2 wings, and we want to break this down. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take off the chicken wings, and it's going to be really easy, guys. So flip it over, back side up, breast side down. So take a look. Okay, here's the shoulder essentially. This is where the wing is meeting the backbone, and all we need is a nice sharp knife. The sharp knife helps us to cut through the skin easily. We're never cutting through bone. If you're cutting through bone, you're making a mistake. We're gonna go in between the joints, guys. So think about where your shoulder meets your back. Think about where your shoulder meets your back. That's all that you're doing to the chicken, and that's where you're separating it. One little incision, and off it comes in one shot. Wasn't that easy? Getting off a chicken wing, off a whole chicken is so easy, my friends. Okay, so let's do this again. Take a look. We make a little incision, exactly where it meets it, and then we take it and we slice off the chicken wing, my friends. It is a nice sharp knife, and having a nice sharp knife is always really important in a kitchen, okay? So guys, take a look. Here's my lovely chicken wings now, and we're already done with a good amount of the job. Okay, now let's go ahead and begin taking off the legs. The legs, guys, one of the easiest parts as well. The breasts are going to be the most tricky, and then we're also going to debone the legs. Whetstone tutorial stream, janky hitbox. I don't actually know how to use a whetstone. So guys, take a look. Here is my lovely chicken legs here. So all we need to do, we want to make an incision as close to the leg as possible, right here. And here we just snip off the skin, okay? All we did is we separated the skin from the rest of the carcass, and the leg is just flopping over. This is the chicken neck. Slippy. So this is just the neck of it, and it's all gonna go into the stock as well. So guys, we made the incision on the skin. All we need to do, we just separate it exactly the same exact way that we did the wing. Let's flip it over, give myself a bit of an easier angle here. Okay, and guys, we're just going to essentially peel this meat. We're going to just peel it off, and again, we're going in between the joints. This is where the leg is, and this is where the rest of the carcass is. We go in between the joints, and guess what, my friends? One big, beautiful chicken thigh. Well, chicken leg and thigh attached. Okay, and let's do the same thing with the other side. All we need to do, little incision, little incision, little incision. Okay, we take it and we flip it over. We pop out the leg, guys. Take a look. We pop out the leg, and off it all comes. A nice one big shot. Beautiful. Do you guys see how easy it is? Everybody, you can do this too. I want to hear a nice yes chef from everybody watching. Anybody can break down a whole chicken. And I do mean anybody. Anybody at all. Okay, and now this is the most tricky part. This is going to be the time where we need to get the breasts off of the rest of the carcass. In fact, the first thing I'm going to do though is I'm just going to take off this neck by just sort of making a little incision along it, and then it'll just make my life easier. And then I'll just snap that neck off. Okay. You don't think you've ever had a knife that sharp ever? Get them professionally sharpened. Trust me, you will not be upset about it. I really want to learn how to properly sharpen my knives someday though. Okay guys, so take a look. Here's my chicken breasts, okay? And so we have a breastbone running right down between them. Leftover skin bones and stuff for the stock. Underestimated monkey, we'll be using all of this for the stock today. We'll be using the whole chicken. So guys, take a look. Here is the breast. Here's the 2 breasts. Okay, and all that we're going to do is we're going to make a gentle incision on one side of it. Okay, we're going to do a gentle incision just through the skin all the way to the end. Okay, gentlest, and I do mean the gentlest of incisions. And then we cut it and we make almost an L-shaped cut, guys. L-shaped cut. Okay, so here's a long line and here's a short line. And now everybody, we don't actually need a knife for this next step. We're going to use our thumb and we're basically going to peel off the breast meat from the rest of the carcass. It just naturally wants to slip off. Okay, so take a look. We can just peel off the meat, my friends. We can peel it off. We can peel it off. You can see that the breast is naturally coming off of the rest of the carcass. So take a look. We can take it and we can continue just to use our thumb. And again, using gloves for this is nice so nothing gets caught under your fingernail. For this, okay? We're just peeling it, peeling it, peeling it. And I learned this. There is this really prolific, I believe, like a yakitori chef, specifically, and he showed, like on a YouTube video, the way to break down a whole chicken. I think I saw it on a Munchies video once, and ever since then, that was the way that I started breaking down my chickens too. So I took a lot of inspiration from the way that he did it, because it was really clean. So guys, this is the chicken tender. We're gonna go ahead and set that aside. We'll be using that today as well. Okay, and all that we need to do now that we have the breast mostly separated is we just gotta slice it off, my friends. Take it, slice it off, and out comes one beautiful chicken breast with the skin attached. Okay, so take a look. We're gonna do the next side now. All right, here's the chicken breast. We're gonna do the same thing, gentle incision, gentle incision, gentle incision, all the way through. Okay, and then we take it and we do another L-shaped cut, my friends. We do an L-shaped cut, or rather, I don't know why I got stuck. I think I got stuck on the wishbone there for a second. Ah, yes, I'm running along the wishbone. That's kind of on me. Okay, and now we can do the same exact thing with this one, guys. Take your thumb and just run it along this, run it along, separate the breast from the rest of the carcass. And you're just gonna see again, it's just gonna wanna naturally peel off. It wants to fall off. You're never cutting through bone when we break down a chicken. Okay, this is just how easy it is. We're taking our thumb or our finger, whatever one you choose. Okay, and this should be a nice little chunk of the chicken tender once again. This one I did kind of break up a little bit, but that's okay. And once again, everybody, we will be slicing off this breast from the rest of the carcass. Just like that. And we are left with a beautiful chicken breast once again, skin on. So take a look. We got two breasts. We got our chicken neck, we have our wings, we have some tenders, and then we have some legs, guys. The last thing that I'm going to do with the carcass specifically is I'm just going to break it down a little further so that it easily fits into my pot, okay? So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it and we're going to just snap off the tail and just have that all easily peel off. And I'm also going to go through this and I'm going to discard the excess fat because this is going to be too much fat and it's going to make our soup a little too greasy for today. Okay, so those like spongy white pockets, that's going to be all of your excess fat. Okay, I actually think that's just pure skin that time around. And I think that should be good. Okay, everybody, so we're going to now go ahead and transfer this to my pot of water, and we're going to blanch my bones. Okay, so I have a lovely pot of water all set up for me, all ready to go. I'm gonna get my chicken carcass inside. We're not gonna get everything inside quite yet though, guys. So we're gonna walk through this. So that's just my chicken carcass. These are my chicken wings. Okay, but we're not done quite yet. We're not done yet, my friends. Let's get the chicken wing inside. We're not gonna put the breasts in. And then we're also going to get the chicken legs in. Everybody, I'm gonna really quickly just grab some more gloves. Like so. And we're going to go ahead and break down these legs even further. Let me show you how to do that. Okay, so right now, it has almost everything besides the breasts and the legs. So let me show you what we need to do. Here is a chicken leg. Here is a chicken thigh. Here is how we separate it, my friends. Take a look at this line. I want you to look through this really tiny, fine line. Do you guys see this line? Do you see this little subtle line right here? We will be using an Instant Pot, Serena, but right now we're gonna be blanching the bones and we'll talk about that in just a second. Look at this line. We just have to put our knife parallel to this line, and guess what? We have perfectly separated the chicken leg from the chicken thigh. That is just how easy it is. We never cut through bone. And we're only gonna put the chicken leg inside, and I'll talk about why in just a second. Same exact idea, guys, same exact idea. Take a look, take a look. We're going to go ahead and just slice it just like this, okay? Beautiful. That's my chicken leg, and I'm gonna put my chicken leg inside of the pot. Okay, last but not least, everybody, I wanna debone my thigh. The thigh is gonna be the meat that we're eating today, as well as the breast, and I don't want a bone running through it. And so, this is going to be the most technical part, this is gonna be the most tricky part. This is not going to be something that I expect you guys to be able to do on your first shot perfectly. In fact, I don't do it that often, so I wouldn't even consider myself that amazing at it. So, we need to analyze the structure of the thigh. Is everybody still listening? I want to hear a nice yes, chef. So take a look at the thigh. The thigh has one bone running through it. So all that we need to do is we need to first start by just making a little incision. So the thigh bone is just enveloped in all of that meat. We make a little incision and we need to expose that the bone inside, okay? It's a little slippery, it's a little tricky, but all we need to do, guys, we just make these subtle little incisions and we're going completely parallel to the bone. We're basically shaving the meat from the bone. This is a little tricky. You need a nice sharp knife. Once again, okay? So let's go ahead. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Let's get all of that meat off. Beautiful. And you guys can see that this chicken thigh is becoming slowly but surely undone. And now, again, the meat just easily slips off the rest of the bone, and we're just gonna keep pulling. We're gonna keep pulling, guys. Keep pulling. We're basically just shaving it down. And what do we get? We get our lovely little thigh bone, okay? And we're just gonna go ahead and drop that into the pot. The last thing that we need to do, we just gotta feel for any hard lumps, okay? We're basically doing, this is what people do that have breasts. You gotta do like a little breast inspection. You're looking for any hard lumps that shouldn't be there, and you gotta check it out. And then, if you feel it right here, guys, we have a little bit of the cartilage. We just have to go ahead and slice it out. And let's also go ahead and throw this into the pot, because why not? Okay, so take a look, inspect it. Feel for any hard lumps, okay? Always check for lumps, my friends. That's how you stay nice and safe. And we'll go ahead and put that aside. Now, let's go ahead and do this next one. That's right. Thank you for the advice, Slippy. It's important medical advice that we're spreading here. For whatever reason, this thigh bone is actually already splintered. I'm not going to put this into the stock, and I'm going to explain to you why. Because of the fact that it's already been splintered, it might fragment and just break down into shrapnel as it ends up cooking. Also, Jack, no, this is a Killua shirt and his dog, Mika. Okay, so guys, you can see that this bone is all splintered, right? You got these little sharp fragments of bone. We're going to just go ahead and clean that up just to make sure that nobody has to risk themselves biting into it. This just happens sometimes. They sometimes just break it in the processing of the chicken. That is okay. We'll go ahead and get rid of it. And guys, just feel and wipe off those bones. Wipe off those bones. Wipe them off. We don't want to bite into them. You can break a tooth on it. They don't digest well. They can get stuck in your throat. Do not bite into any bone, my friends. Can I please get a yes, chef? So this step is really important. Do not neglect it. Do not sleep on it. Okay, I think that should be good. Everybody, guess what? We have all of our bones in the pot now. And so what we're going to do is we're going to blanch these bones. And let's talk about this, and let's talk about why we're even doing this to begin with. I gotta just adjust my pot a little bit. There you go. So, everybody, have you ever heard of the term skimming the scum, specifically in reference of a stock? Or, we have to specifically blanch the bones before we make a chicken stock. Has anybody heard this phrase? Has anybody heard this expression before? I just want to see if there's anybody that's not familiar with it. Okay, so why are we doing this step? We're not making the stock quite yet. We're giving all of the bones a pre-boiling stage. So why are we doing this? Let me explain to you why. I know I just repeated myself a whole bunch of times. Excuse me. I'm still getting settled into the swing of things. So, when you take bones, especially when you take meat, and you cook it in water and you bring it up to a boil, what happens is there's a lot of proteins that get released that cake up at the top, and that is something that we colloquially call scum. Okay, that scum is not particularly flavorful, but it does two things. First of all, you can feel it. Sometimes in a chicken stock, it has almost like a graininess to it. Okay? It has like a minerality, it has like a little graininess to it. And so it affects the taste overall. The second thing that it does is it makes it cloudy, right? So you have all these little teeny tiny protein particles that are sort of just stuck and suspended within the stock itself. So Before we actually make the chicken stock, we bring all of these bones up to a nice big aggressive boil, we dump out the water, and then we clean off the bones. And then we start them again in fresh water. We don't actually lose significant flavor. So some people say, oh, that's wasteful, we're wasting all of that liquid. But that is completely nonsense. Okay? And that's completely nonsense because what we're really looking to do is we're looking to extract the gelatin. We're looking to convert the collagen that is in the cartilage, okay, and turn it into gelatin. And that happens at around 170, 175 degrees or so. In the beginning of a boiling stage, I promise you, you have not significantly extracted all of the collagen and turned it into gelatin. That has just not happened. Okay, so we give them a bit of a pre-boiling stage. We're not going to lose any flavor, and I'm also just going to go ahead and grab a lid for this pot just so that it can boil faster, so that we don't have to waste any time whatsoever. Does everybody understand? Does everybody understand why we're doing this step? We want to have a good texture on our chicken stock. Okay, we don't want it to have that minerality to it, and we want it to be nice and beautiful and golden to dark brown, but we want it to be a clear stock, my friends. Okay, and as always, because of the fact that we're cooking at home, what do we have to do, everybody? We have to clean as we go. So I have this knife, I have this cutting board. I'm going to go ahead and throw my cutting board into the dishwasher. As always, everybody, before you begin cooking at home, you absolutely must, and it is not a question, you must have an empty sink or an empty dishwasher. An empty sink or an empty dishwasher will just allow you to continue moving as you cook. If you have a full sink and a full dishwasher, it's going to be a mess and you're going to get stuff all over the place and it's just going to suck. Okay? Dishes are the worst. Dishes are the enemy of any good cook, especially at home. So my friends, we have to clean as we go. So while I just clean that up, you guys can watch my pot of water as it boils, even though that might cause it to not boil properly, but we will see. Okay? Something, watch pots and boiling. Okay? And I'm just going to go ahead and discard my cutting board, get that into the dishwasher, and I'll wash up my knife as well. All in one big fell swoop. Just get that all done and ahead of time. Does anybody have any questions for me? It can be about this dish, it can be about something else, because remember, my friends, I am here to always teach you. I'm talking about you. I'm here to teach you how to cook at home. Okay? And so it can be about this dish, it can be about something else. I'm here to teach you techniques that are best suited for a home setting. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a little second and wash my knife. Get all those little chickeny bits off of it. Lovely. Hi, Dosky. Welcome on in. It's lovely to have you. Okay, again, guys, I'm just cleaning off my knife, cleaning it off, getting it all done. Okay, and my knife seems to be nice and clean now. We got all of that chicken stuff off of it. Chef, do we blanch bones from cold water to boiling always? Tarina, honestly, I don't think it's that big of a deal. You can do either. It doesn't really matter. I don't think for this specific step it matters. How big is your kitchen? Do you have enough space or would you like more space? Underestimated monkey? I live in New York City. Granted, this is the apartment that I grew up in. This is a fairly sizable kitchen for New York, but you can always use more space. Do you actively search food from other countries or is it recommended to you? So, Shai Chica, actively search food from other countries. Are you talking about like when I go out to eat? Are you talking about how I cook at home? Like what are you asking me specifically here? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and wipe off my knife. And guys, we have to go ahead and do the rest of the prep for today. Oh, do I have search food from other countries or is it recommended to me? So, Shai Chica, sometimes I take recommendations, although I think I would like to do more recommendations in the future. But typically, what I just do is I think about a culture that I haven't tried making food from, or I think about a culture that I really love eating or going out to, or I pick a culture that sometimes I just know nothing about. Okay, and so specifically in the case of Vietnamese food, I love Vietnamese food. I love Vietnamese food to death. We made the summer rolls on Sunday, okay? But I've actually never, up until making those summer rolls, I've never really made proper Vietnamese food aside from the one chicken cabbage salad we did, which is called Goi Ga Bap Kai, okay? And so I've always wanted to do pho. Question, how long do you normally cook chickpeas? Well, Jack, in a pressure cooker, I typically do, if they're soaked, 12 minutes and then like 10 minutes natural pressure release. on high pressure. Okie dokie. Everybody, let's go ahead and get this chicken. We're going to do one last thing to it, okay? We're going to do one more thing to it, which is we're just going to go ahead and quickly season it with some salt and just let it sort of soak up the salt, let it become fully seasoned until we're ready to cook with it, okay? Also, Dreamer, I'll take a little sip of water in a second. I don't know where you're from, but what's your favorite native dish? You mean native as in native to the United States or native to my culture, Slippy? Okay, so guys, I have my chicken here. So pseudo-natural, the reason why the term summer rolls exists is because spring rolls are used to both describe like the deep fried egg roll as well as like the rice paper one, which isn't deep fried at all. So there aren't autumn rolls, and summer rolls I believe was just like a term, even though it's not the correct translation. I believe it was just used to describe the rice paper rolls instead. And so that's why I call them summer rolls and not spring rolls. Although spring rolls would be also the direct translation, I believe. Okay, everybody, so here's my chicken thighs and here's my chicken breasts. All that I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna lay them out nice and flat before I season them with some salt. Okay, my chicken tender as well. I forgot all about that guy for a second. Okay, and we're gonna hit them with a nice generous amount of salt, my friends, because I want my meat to be nice and properly seasoned. Okay, and this is called dry brining. You can do this like 30 minutes ahead of time or so. Because of the fact that we're also doing a wet cooking method, it might not be the most important. Some of the salt might just end up leaching out into the water. But ultimately, this does result in juicier meat, my friends. Pre-salting meat 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes ahead of time, up to several hours or even a day, increases its moisture retention. It doesn't dry it out like some people would say it does. So what kind of salt is this? This is kosher salt. And the reason why I only use kosher salt is because it's really easy to grab and pinch with your hands. So table salt is typically good for salads because the crystals are small and they dissolve easily. Okay? So that's that. I'm gonna go ahead and just put my chicken aside, everybody, because we are not going to need this for a long, long time. Okay? We're not going to need this for a while. This is going to be the last thing that we do, which is just gently, and I do mean gently, poaching the chicken. Let's go ahead and get my next cutting board all set up and ready to go. Okay, and now everybody, we have to go ahead and start tackling some of our aromatics for today. Salt your tomatoes, that's right, underlisted monkey. Salt your tomatoes ahead of time to stop them from becoming too watery. Okay, so let's talk about my aromatics really quickly. Let's start first with my vegetables, specifically onions and ginger. I don't actually think that there is garlic in pho at all, from like this little bit of research that I did ahead of time. So we have 2 whole onions, and then we have a whole thing of garlic. We're going to char this onion, and we're going to char it until it's really, really blackened. Okay, also Jack, well, thank you for stopping by at least. Okay, we're going to char these things, and that's going to add in another additional depth of flavor. Onions and chicken stocks, you can't do without. They add a really nice sweetness, they add a lovely allium flavor, and that char, guys, that smokiness is going to just provide an extra element. Might need to freeze some chicken. What would I suggest for unfreezing it and keeping the flavor? Count JP, for unfreezing it, what I always just do is, if it's like a big chunk of chicken, slowly defrost it in your fridge for 2 to 3 days. If it's something thin like chicken breast, cold running water under the sink. Okay? And there's like a bunch of science there and physics as to why cold running water defrosts things that I wouldn't be able to explain that well. Okay, guys, so here we go. We have some onion and we have some ginger, and I'm going to be using 2 whole onions for today. And all that I'm going to be doing is we're just going to be slicing it in half so that you know, we can get that one side of it nice and charred. I'm slicing off the dirty root end. I'm slicing off just the tip of the head of the onion. Okay, and we're going to slice it in half just like this. All the way through. And guys, we're going to be keeping this intentionally intact. Do not chop your onion. I'm going to say this again. In fact, we don't even need to get rid of all the onion skin. I'm just getting rid of the topmost layer because that is the dirtiest. And I did not wash my onions because washing onions is kind of unneeded. Okay, so 1 onion, just like this. Why do we do it like this? So that we can easily take it out after. If you chop your onion, it's going to fall apart inside of your stock and it's going to make it cloudy. So pseudo-natural, the way that kosher salt got its name is because of the process of koshering. Koshering is a type of meat preservation, I believe. It's meat preservation using salt. So again, we slice off the head, we slice off the root of the onion, and all that I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take my bad boy and slice him in half once more. And it's okay if it's a little uneven. Okay, and let's just go ahead and get that top layer of the skin off, because again, that skin is a little bit dirty, my friends. It's a little dirty. Let's get rid of it. Let's get rid of it. Lovely. Okay, and let's get rid of it. Let's get rid of it. Is everybody still watching? I want to hear a nice yes, chef, please, and thank you. So yes, to the natural. I had that answer ready for you. Okie dokie. 2 onions, and then, of course, my lovely ginger. And all that I'm going to do with my ginger, everybody, is I'm just going to take it and same exact way as the onion, make sure that the skin is washed, which I forgot to do. I'm just going to quickly rinse that off and brush it, because we're just going to be keeping the ginger skin. We don't need to peel the ginger today, okay? The ginger is just going to go in, it's just going to get charred, and again, we're intentionally keeping it in a nice big piece so that it can, you know, easily be plucked out after. Nice whole chunks will infuse the flavor, and then we'll discard it after, and then it'll be nice and easy, okay? Just wash that off. Okay, there you go. Beautiful. So everybody, we have 2 whole onions, and then we also have some ginger, and now we need to go ahead and char it. I want to thoroughly blacken the flesh of both the ginger and the onion itself. Again, it's going to provide a really nice smokiness. It's going to add an additional layer of depth. This is a fairly essential thing to do for pho. You know how I mostly say, oh, you don't have to char something if you don't want to. To get something that tastes like pho, you have to char your components. Can I please get a yes, chef? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go back to the stove, and I'm just going to move, I'm just going to get my chicken out of here, just put it out of here, and, you know, maybe I'll just keep it in the fridge until I'm ready to use it. Okay, and we're just going to switch over which pot that we currently have active and which one is currently being used. I'm going to take this bad boy, and I'm going to put him right over here. There you go. Set the heat on this guy. Okay, get him back boiling. And now we're going to preheat another pan, my friends. Nice medium heat, and we're going to put in some oil, and we want this to be smoking hot. The goal is to char these vegetables, not to caramelize them, not to cook them, but the goal is to get them really brown. So we're going to need a pretty, you know, decent amount of oil just to make sure that my pan is nice and lubricated. I don't think I'll be able to do everything in one go, and we just got to go ahead and get this thing hot, my friends. Don't have to worry about hot spots, don't have to worry about cool spots. The only thing is, I'm not going to do a nonstick pan because this is on a fairly high heat, and the goal is to char it. Non-stick pans don't like high heat because it ends up breaking down the enamel. Okay, it also is carcinogenic and all these other things. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get this pan nice and smoking hot. I'm adding in some peanut oil. What kind of oil am I using? Shai Chica, amazing question. You ask me, can I use any oil for this? And my answer is no, not at all. You have to use high smoke point oils. I usually hate saying smoke point, but let me explain why. Oils, really refined oils like canola oil, peanut oil, vegetable oil, soy oil, all of them you can heat up to a very high temperature without them smoking. Think about something like extra virgin olive oil. It smokes at a much lower temperature, and it has other things in there that's not just oil that end up burning. So no butter, no olive oil, use avocado oil, use canola oil, or in my case you can use peanut oil. Any neutral cooking oil will be good for this. Also, love from India. Well, it's lovely to have you. Thank you for stopping by. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and have a little sip of water. Okay, and I'm just gonna go ahead and get a little plate out. And this is where I'm just gonna keep all of my aromatics for today. And the only thing I'm gonna do, guys, because they're gonna go in a really hot pan, I'm just gonna pat them dry slightly, because sometimes they bleed a little bit of moisture the longer that they end up sitting out. Okay, lovely. Okay, so once again, guys, 2 onions, and this onion we're gonna be using later on today. I may as well just go ahead and put him onto a separate plate. And guys, I want to show you really quickly. I want to show you all what my pot of chicken currently looks like. Remember how I talked about the scum? Remember how I talked about the scum, everybody? Remember how I talked about there's going to be a bunch of proteins floating to the top? This is exactly what we're trying to get rid of. All of that yucky stuff is going to just end up making our stock unnecessarily cloudy, and it's going to affect the overall mouthfeel of it. Okay, so all we need to do is we bring it up to a boil, we'll cook it for another minute, and then I'll dump it out all into the sink. All of that scum, my friends, all of that is the proteins that are being released from the little bits of meat as it cooks through. Okay, it doesn't have that much flavor, I promise you. For a nice, clean, delicious pho, my friends, blanch those bones. Can I please get a yes, chef? Okay, okay. So we're heating up the pan for the onion and the ginger charring. The next thing that we need to do is prepare my mix of spices. And this, guys, this is where the heart and soul of pho really truly comes into play. So let's talk about everything here. Let us talk about all of the different lovely spices that we have. Okay, first and foremost, the one that I would consider to be the most important here is a nice little cinnamon stick, okay? It's gonna add a very nice earthiness. You guys know what cinnamon tastes like, okay? So we'll go ahead and get one of those little sticks out. And I'm gonna get a bunch of cute condiment cups because I wanna go ahead and make it look pretty. So one whole cinnamon stick. And again, why am I using a whole spices for this? With pre-ground spices, they can easily over-extract and they easily vaporize. Ground spices don't actually like a lot of cook time. Okay? Because they release really quickly into something and then they essentially evaporate. The more that you smell a spice as it's cooking, wait, what do you mean it's moldy? No, that's just the bark inside. That's not moldy. It's just a little peel down the top. It's not moldy too, you know? Okay, so whole spices, again, we get to easily pluck them out after, we get to easily strain them out after, and we don't necessarily need to worry about getting like little teeny tiny fragments of them. You can easily over-extract spices into something. Okay, so keeping them whole is how we prevent the over-extraction from commencing. So what else are we going to need, my friends? First and foremost, we're gonna need some lovely, some gorgeous coriander seeds. Okay, it's gonna add a really pleasant herbaceousness into the dish. Okay, so 1 teaspoon I'm going to be using, and a lot of these measurements I took from the Serious Eats Instant Pot Pho Ga. Okay, the next thing that we're going to need, everybody, is we're going to need some star anise. Okay, these guys, they have a lovely aroma to them. They're almost like licoricey in their smell. They're really aromatic. Oh, they're really, really intense. Now, star anise isn't actually always traditional inside of a chicken pho. You typically see this in beef phos more than anything. Some people use star anise in their chicken phos, but I'm looking for a very intense, very, very flavorful chicken pho today, okay? And so that's what we'll be doing. And guys, we're gonna actually have to put this on pause. Because we have to dump out the water. I want to show you all. Let's see if we can actually get it visualized here. Guys, look at all of that scum on the top. Look at all that scum. We do not want any of that scum at all. So I'm going to go ahead and get that just dumped out into the sink really quickly. All of that scum, it's all gotta go. I'm gonna have to step off frame for just a second and I'm gonna wash out my bones. I'm setting up a colander inside of my sink to catch it all. Okay? Set up a little colander and I'm just gonna dump all of it inside. So everybody, I'm stepping off camera. Behave yourselves while I'm gone. And then we're just gonna be rinsing out all of this with some nice cold water. There you go. All of it in there. Beautiful. And I'm also just going to quickly rinse out my pot so that the scum doesn't stick and dry because it has a pretty nasty tendency to do so. The scum is really, really sticky. It's a bunch of proteins, guys. Guys, remember, at the end of the day, protein is sticky. It sticks to food. So, you can brush it if you would like. Some people, they take like almost like a toothbrush that they dedicate for cooking. For this kind of a task, I'm just going to be running some water under it, get some water under each of the crevices, and make sure that all of the little fragments are nice and properly cleaned up, my friends. Clean it up, wash it off, get all those little tiny bits off of it, okay? And we will be successfully removing all of the scum that way. Get it inside of all the little crevices, rub your hands along the bones, get it inside of the rib cage of the carcass, guys. Clean up those bones. Clean them up, and you will have a nice, beautiful stock, and you will thank me later. Do this step for a nice traditional pho, or actually, you can omit it if you would like. So everybody, I apologize for being off frame. I'll be back in just a second. Again, I'm just continuing to rinse off all of my bones, and as soon as they're rinsed, I will be back with you, I promise. Do not be afraid. Okay. And guys, because the chicken is half raw and I'm not using a glove, I am going to need to wash my hands with some soap as well. Just to go ahead and make sure, and not over the chicken, of course. I move the chicken to the side. The soap isn't going to hit it, I promise. Let's lower that. Okay. Everybody, my chicken has been thoroughly washed. Please don't get any soap in your chicken. Please don't. Okay, my chicken has been thoroughly washed. My chicken has now been thoroughly blanched, everybody, okay? So, we are back. We are back, and now it is going to be time for us to char some vegetables. So take a look, guys. On our stove, that oil, we want it to be hot. Now, depending on the smoke point of the oil, it's going to be smoking at different temperatures. This oil, though, is really, really hot at the moment. So we gotta be careful. Why do we have so much oil? We have so much oil to make sure, first of all, that the vegetables don't stick. And second of all, so that we can get a nice, even contact, my friends. We add the onion. We add the onion, and again, be careful. Don't use tongs. Just get nice and close. If the onion is wet, it's going to end up splashing. Okay, so let's be careful. You can see it's starting to splash slightly. In fact, that makes me almost a little terrified. So maybe I can and will use, a couple of tongs in this case. And we just gotta char these onions, my friends. Okay, this guy, yeah, he's a little wet. Maybe I had like an aggressive amount of oil. I think I might have had too much oil, is why it's splashing this much, not just because it's slightly wet. So I've just killed the heat on it. I'm gonna wait for this to like settle down for a second. Okay, for anyone amazing, thank you, Study Stream Ken. It is, so guys, we have a little too much oil in here at the moment. That's okay. So I just shut off the heat. All that I'm gonna do is, wait, why did I just put more ginger in if I already had too much oil? It's fine. Give it a second, I'm gonna let it cool off and then I'm gonna pull it out. So, is there a reason I'm cooking the onions like this? It's because I wanna really char them. And this is how we get a nice even char, okay? Are protein-rich foods sticky? They are pseudo-natural, that's right. Okay, give them a second. Let's just have this all settle down. And I'm gonna have a separate little bowl. Don't pour the hot oil down your sink unless you hate your landlord. So actually, maybe pour the hot oil down your sink if you hate your landlord, is what I should say instead. But ultimately, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna go ahead and remove my onion, my ginger rather. Let's remove my ginger. I'm gonna just put that back onto the plate. I'm gonna take my onion as well. Ooh, this onion is slightly falling apart, that's okay. We'll get that char that we've always wanted. We'll get the char of our dream, my friends, I promise. We just gotta take the onion out. And I just think I added too much oil. When it has that much oil inside of it, it's just going to splash a lot more, okay? So, but yeah, in general, in cooking, the more protein something has, sugars stick as well. Okay, those are all the things that become sticky. And then starch plus water. Those are the kinds of things that you really need to be thinking about, okay? So, we got rid of all of the oil. We're gonna put back in like a little splash, a little teaspoon or so. I think that'll be fine. Of some of the hot oil. Let's do, yeah, I think that should be enough oil. I definitely just overdid it. It never needed that much to begin with, guys. Okay, that's better. It has like a teaspoon of oil in it now. We don't need it to be completely and totally submerged. I saw the amount of oil in there and I was like, oh, this is almost like deep frying, which isn't really what I'm looking for. And it doesn't need to be smoking hot either at this stage at least, so we could probably just add in my onions again now. Okay, so let's do it again. Let's do it again, everybody. We're doing it live. It happens to the best of us. And now, hopefully, it's not gonna splash like it once did. Here's my ginger. Here's my ginger. Here's my onion. Am I gonna be able to fit everything in one shot? Please say yes. Chat, pray with me. Will I get everything fitted into one pan? My instinct is telling me no, but my spirit is telling me yes. Oh, hold on. My culinary instincts are screaming at me. And I think we fitted everything in, mostly. We mostly got everything fitted. Okay, everybody, the vegetables are in the pan. Oh, this is definitely overfilled. It's not even contact. I think I'm gonna have to take out one of these onions. In fact, maybe one of the gingers as well to get this to all. Oh, what a tragedy. I wasn't able to make that last onion fit. So we'll do this in 2 batches, and so will be it, everybody. So we're charring the onions. We gotta char it, we gotta get it nice and smoky, everybody. Okay? So, chef, did I explain why I'm doing the stove fry instead of the broiler? So, Tarina, yes, let me explain to you why. A broiler, as nice as it is to get a char on something, it unfortunately doesn't get a very even char. It has a lot of hot spots. And we don't really want to have oil under the broiler because it pops and creates a lot of smoke, and it can even create a fire as well. And so the reason why I'm using a pan and I'm using this method is because we're gonna have a nice flat surface and we're gonna take advantage of that flat surface. I use the broiler to char irregular things, and whenever I have a flat surface, I just prefer to do it in a pan like this, okay? So everybody, let us continue with all of our spices for today. So what do we have in here? Here are my coriander seeds and my star anise. Next, we're gonna add in some fennel seeds. We're gonna have a lot of like these really strong licoricey flavors. Everybody, 1 teaspoon, in fact, a little less of the fennel seeds because I don't like too many of them. Okay, so slightly less than a teaspoon of those bad boys go directly inside. We already got my star anise in, and then we're also going to need some cloves. Chef, did I ever try stuff on gas burners themselves? I have. I don't really like doing it because they sort of release a lot of liquid and it becomes kind of messy. Not my favorite thing to do, honestly. Okay, and let's just go ahead and open this bad boy up. And for the cloves, guys, we're only gonna do like 3 cloves maximum. Again, you can easily overdo it with cloves, okay? So just 3 cloves, it's gonna be plenty. It smells really crispy, it smells really delicious, but I promise you, in the context of pho, it's all gonna be lovely, guys. Okay, let's see, did I forget any spices? We have 1 teaspoon of fennel seed, we have 1 teaspoon of coriander seed, we have 3 star anise, a few cloves, as well as a nice little cinnamon stick. Okay, and it's beginning to splash again, but that's okay this time because luckily we don't have a bunch of oil in there. Also, guys, having whole cinnamon sticks is so fun. You just get to go ahead and, you know, like with hot chocolate, optimal, so ideal. Okay, let's go ahead and inspect really quickly how my ginger is doing, how my onion is doing. We're looking, guys, for this to be like thoroughly charred. I mean like full color all the way around it, okay? So you can see it's beginning to get golden brown, but that is not the depth of the char that I'm looking for. But guys, look at that onion. Look at that onion. That is getting there, but it has to get really charred, okay? This one is beginning to get there as well. This one's getting there. They're all getting there, everybody. It just takes a little bit of time, a little bit of patience, and a little bit of love. Get them all going. Okie dokie. So I believe we can also begin start putting things into the pot. Also, Annie, welcome on in. It is lovely to have you. It is lovely to see you as always. Hello. No raid this time. You're just coming in naturally. I say secretly hoping for raid, but that's okay. Okay, so my onions are charring. My spices are done. Let's go ahead and transfer things into my lovely pot. Okay, guys, this is my pressure cooker pot. I'm going to be doing this pho inside of a pressure cooker, and let's talk about why for just a second. So guys, 2 quarts of water, and why am I doing this inside of a pressure cooker? A pressure cooker just makes it so much easier, it makes it so much more efficient, it just takes so much less time. How does a pressure cooker even work? In a pressurized environment, water boils at a higher temperature. You literally get to get water in a liquid form hotter than it can normally get to. Okay, so as a result, because of the fact that we're doing a much higher heat cooking, we're able to save a lot, and I do mean a lot of time. Okay, and now all I'm going to do is we're going to get the chicken pieces in there. After I want to inspect my onion. I want to see how that's doing. Ooh, guys, I think we got a good char on the onion so far. So let's go ahead and begin getting it out of here. Oh, he's vacationing. I see. I was like, where's my raids? I'm entitled to this. Look at that char. That's the kind of a char that we're looking for, everybody, okay? Look at that char. Beautiful. Okay, let's look at this char. This char is still a little incomplete. Let's do him a little longer. Okay, let's look at Mr. Ginger. That's a good char. That one, not quite. So this guy still needs to go a little longer, and we got to get the rest of this onion all charred up and all ready to go for us, guys. Get this onion. Come on, buddy. Oh, you fell apart, didn't you? Ah, no. Everybody, I have accidentally produced onion rings. That is not my intended outcome. But that's okay. That's fine. We'll still be able to pick it out after. It'll be okay. Come on, buddy. Please. Thank you. Okay. And so, let's go ahead and get this lovely charred onion into the pot. And let's get this one into the pot as well. And guys, we're doing 2 quarts of water. These specific measurements, I've taken some inspiration from the Serious Eats pressure cooker pho. Okay? We got those bad boys into the pot. And now, let's go in with all of my lovely spices. You remember these, right? This is my star anise, my coriander, okay? My cinnamon stick, all of that going inside right now. all of those, the rest of those other vegetables are continuing to char. And now guys, let's go ahead and get a nice big bundle of some fresh cilantro. I have some cilantro at home. Traditionally, for really authentic Pho Ga, you would do something called culantro. I believe it's also called sawtooth coriander. Okay, in my case, I don't have access to that. It's not exactly the same thing as cilantro, but some plain old cilantro will do just fine as well. So some cilantro going into the pot. Okay, we're almost done, everybody. We're almost done. We got to keep pushing. We got to keep going. All of that good stuff is currently charring. I'm going to go ahead and get my lovely chicken pieces into the pot as well. So 1 second. We'll be right there, everybody. Okay, okay. Here is all of my chicken bones, guys. All of my chicken bones, all of my chicken wings, the chicken legs we will be eating. The chicken legs are gonna need the most amount of time because they have a bone running through them. And so we'll just pick them out after it's all cooked. Take a look, guys. Beautiful, isn't it? All of that schmeat, all of those bones. Look how much flavor we're going to end up getting, guys. We're going to get so much flavor. We're going to get every single last drop possible. Now, we're going to be doing fish sauce in 2 installments. We're going to be doing some fish sauce in the pressure cooking stage, even though that might not be too traditional. And we'll be also seasoning it with some fish sauce at the end. By the way, Chef, do you recommend freezing broths to keep them for longer? Absolutely. If you make a lot of broth and you won't use them in time, freeze them pseudo-natural. Chef, do you always put the drums in the stock? Not always, Turina, but I'm putting the drums in this one so that they cook in time. Okay? Guys, some fish sauce. Okay, I'm not going to measure the amount of fish sauce I'm adding. We'll do some fish sauce now, and then we'll adjust to season it afterwards. But we'll do 1, 2, and 3. Okay, I don't know how many that was. I was just going purely by vibes. Okay, and then everybody, last but not least, some rock sugar. Okay, I'm going to start with 2 big lumps of rock sugar. Or rather, look at this guy. He is huge. Is that really going to melt in time? I don't know if it will, and I don't really want to hit it with a hammer. Look at this thing. Guys, these are massive. I want to see if we can get some like smaller crystals. Okay, here we go. That's 1 crystal, and here's another one, and then we'll do a little bit more as well. Come on. Little crystals, guys, little crystals. I'm not measuring. Again, we'll just be able to adjust it for taste afterwards. How do I get all these little crystals out of here? Okay, can we just please be normal? Little crystal. Guys, he's so tiny. I want a nice chunk. Okay? I'm looking for a nice chunk. Why is this so difficult? Why are they making my life so difficult, guys? Get real. Get it together. Okay? And... oh, I should have probably put this in a bowl. Okay, little crystal. I think that should be good for now. And then everybody will just be able to adjust for sweetness afterwards. I believe all of my onion and all of my ginger now should be fully charred, excuse me. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take it all out, and we'll be putting it inside of the pot as well. Yes, there we go. Gorgeous. There you go, there you go. Awesome. Everybody, take a look. That's the last of my ginger. That's my onion going inside as well. My onion, all of this onion, guys. It almost smells like hibachi, right? Like that charred onion smell, right? That you sort of like associate with like grilled onions. I love the smell of grilled onions. That slightly burnt onion smell is one of my favorites. Everybody, look at this pot. Look at this behemoth. Do you understand the sheer amount of flavors going on inside? And we'll do a little bit of salt now, and we'll adjust for salt after it's cooked as well. So a little bit of salt now. Guys, take a look. Take a look. Let's go here. Let's go to the stove, and we'll talk about everything that we've put inside of it. And now, guys, this is just going to need to cook, and it's going to need to cook for about 30 minutes. So, what do we have in here? We have 2 quarts of water. We broke down a whole chicken ourselves. Can I please get a yes, chef? We charred some onion, we charred some ginger. We added in a bunch of cilantro, okay? We added in coriander seeds. We added in some star anise. We added in some fennel seeds. We added in a cinnamon stick. We added in a few cloves. We added the chicken wings, the chicken drums, the thigh bones, and the rest of the chicken carcass. And we added in some fish sauce, and of course, to make it a really traditional, authentic pho, we've added in some rock sugar. The rock sugar for the sweetness, the fish sauce there for the bit of the oomph, okay? The cilantro for the herbaceousness, the spices to be able to season it all, and then all of those bones, guys, it's all gonna come together and become delicious. I'm gonna go ahead and take this now to my pressure cooker, and we're gonna do it on high pressure for 30 minutes. The best way to do homemade stocks, the best way to do really concentrated soups, guys, to make it all nice and time efficient, I am telling you, using a pressure cooker. Use a pressure cooker, because it just saves you so much time. I'm doing high pressure for about 30 minutes or so, but if you just did not have a pressure cooker, I would do like 1.5 hours of a simmer. High pressure, 30 minutes, set it on, and we are good to go, everybody, okay? Lovely. We got a lot done. Does anybody have any questions for me in the meantime? I'm gonna take a second, clean up my station, put away a couple of things that we're not going to need anymore today. Everybody, thank you so much for being so patient with me for this process. Chef, how much fish sauce got in? I did a few glugs, Serena. We can always adjust the fish sauce at the end, so I wouldn't be able to tell you quite yet. I have no idea how much I added. I did purely approximations, as always. Okay, and I'll go ahead and get my tong and my plate inside of the dishwasher as well. Get it all out of here, guys, because remember, when we cook at home, chat, what do? When you cook at home, you clean as you go. I want to hear everybody say clean as you go, please and thank you. It is really, really important. It is one of the most important parts about home cooking that I could possibly teach any of you. That is how you become a good home cook. What is the point of me teaching you all of these different dishes? They use up so many different dishes, makes a big mess, and then leaves. What kind of a chef would I be? What kind of an instructor would I be? The answer is not a very good one. Okay, because that is not what it means to really truly cook at home. And so, is it super professional to be cleaning in front of a camera? No, but it's all realistic. This is a home cooking show. This isn't a studio, this is inside of my home kitchen. And as always, everybody, if you would like to support the cooking show, if you would like to support what we do here, please, please, please go ahead and check me out on Patreon. You can type in !Patreon to help directly financially support the show, because my goal is to be able to do this full time one day. I want to keep all of my information free. The Patreon doesn't give you any paywalled content. There is nothing that you get aside from the satisfaction of supporting the cooking show and supporting what we do here. I never want to paywall information. I never want to have people buy information. I want to have everything be out and free. And for those of you that have the extra money, it just goes a really long way. The chef uses its own measurements. So, Shai Chica, it depends. Usually, I go things completely by feel, completely by eyeball. In this case, the reason why I was using a teaspoon is because I was referencing the Serious Eats Pho Ga recipe. How much sauce would a fish sauce fish if a fish sauce could sauce fish? Good one, Count JP. I have to renew my Patreon sub, so it expired. That's okay, Annie. That's fine. I'm only a little upset at you. Okay, it's okay. You're perfectly fine. And I'm going to go ahead and also get my spices out of here because we have no more use for Mr. Spices. Everybody, please say thank you to Mr. Spices, plural. He's one guy. There's just like a lot of him. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of it all. Just put it out of here, put it out of sight, out of mind, so that we have so much less to clean up afterwards. Okie dokie. And my cinnamon sticks, they can also go. I don't need my cinnamon sticks for anything. Okay. My cinnamon sticks are gone, my rock sugar is gone. Lovely. Okie dokie, guys. So what else do we actually need to do? We have to do the garnish plate for today. Also, that is not enough people saying thank you, Mr. Spices. Shai Chica, thank you for being the only one to keep it real right now. Chef would be the perfect candidate for the PBS cooking show. Oh, PBS? I feel like PBS is like the one ethical TV channel, right? Like PBS is out there and trying to do like a public good, isn't it? PBS is like doing a good thing out there. So honestly, pseudo-natural, you gave me a very good idea in the future. We'll see if it pays off. Oh, that's something to think about. Oh no, I've written off all of televised, broadcast because of how unethical it is, how much it's reliant on ads and sponsors. PBS might be the only good one. Whoa. Okay, dokie. So everybody, we have all of the stuff in the pressure cooker. It's all currently going. And you might be asking me, oh, Dara, why do we not have any of the meat inside? So let's talk about this really quickly. As you all may know, I have here my lovely chicken thighs and my lovely chicken breasts and my lovely chicken tenders. The reason why I didn't put these inside of the pressure cooker pot, first of all, these are not bones. Bones, especially all the cartilage around them, all the collagen around it, it dissolves into gelatin and it gives us a beautiful stock. If we put this meat inside of the pressure cooker, it would become dry and overcooked and chalky. And that is not what I'm looking for out of my schmeat today. I want it to be nice and juicy. I want to be able to slice my chicken breast. I want to be able to slice my chicken thighs. My drumsticks will be shredding up because they'll be really cooking down thoroughly. But these guys, I'm going to be keeping nice and juicy. And so we will be poaching them today. Okay? So that is why we haven't actually cooked this part of the meat quite yet, but we will soon enough, I promise. Okay, so what else do we need to do, everybody? We need to go ahead and get a garnish plate ready for the pho. We have to soak the noodles. We actually, oh no. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think we really have that much to do over the next 30 minutes. So we're gonna really slow down everything that we're doing, and I might just separately poach the chicken so that it's not all, you know, we don't have to like wait for it at the end. So I think that's what we'll do. We'll slow down, we'll keep it chill. How's that sound, everybody? Does that sound good to all of you? Okay, I want to hear this, yes, chef, please and thank you. Okay, so we gotta slice some onion. We gotta go ahead and get a garnishes ready. Let's go ahead and do that now. So, I have here half an onion. Okay, this is just an old leftover half an onion that I had laying around, and we're just gonna slice this up because one of the nicest things that you get in a bowl of pho, guys, is that sliced onion. You get some of that like thinly shaved onion, okay, that thinly shaved onion, and when you pour the boiling water over it, it basically immediately cooks the onion. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and just put on some gloves just so I can protect my dainty little hands from eczema, as always. Guys, this is half an onion, root attached, okay? And we're going to be cutting it basically into half moons. So I'm actually not going to be using this knife. I'm going to be using my chef's knife because it's a little bit bigger and we have a little bit more area. Why am I using a chef's knife? We can get a longer slice. And when we get a longer slice, we can get thin slices without needing to saw through it. Okay, my friends, so let me show you. Half an onion, we're going to go as thinly as humanly imaginable. And I do mean thinly. I mean really thinly. Okay? I mean, we're going to put this here and we don't chop it. If you chop it, the knife is gonna pop out and we're not gonna get a beautiful slice of onion. We stack up the knife and we slice it, my friends. Okay, so that one was not perfect because I believe that onion half wasn't perfect. So we take it and we slice it with minimal vertical force. Take a look at how thin this onion is. It is see-through. Okay, that is the kind of thin onions that I want for today. You might be asking me, oh Daria, this seems so difficult, I can't do this myself. Sharp knife and patience. Do not, under any circumstances, rush this process. Now, what if you don't want to do it this way? Well, the restaurant way would be to use a mandolin. Use a mandolin, all the way through, and that should be okay. But at the moment, guys, paper thin, beautiful. Look at that slice, guys. Paper thin. Okay, that was a little too much vertical force. It popped out. Also, Sunny Peach Crush, welcome on in. It's lovely to have you. Paper, oh, too much vertical force. Slice it. There you go, guys. The key to this is a slice and not a chop. Remember, when you chop, you're using vertical force. It cleaves it and it pops out. By slicing it nice and thin, my friends, we get the full length of it without the knife popping out. Slice it. Look at those onions. Guys, look at my gorgeous shaved onion. Can you do onions like that? The answer is yes, you can. Slice it. Minimal vertical force. You see, I chopped it too much and the onion ended up sort of popping out. Let's take it and we slice it. We slice, whoa. Come on, buddy, we're being impatient now, aren't we? Take it and we slice it. Beautiful. Chef, what's a mandolin? So no, you spelled it absolutely correctly, Shai Chica. A mandolin is essentially, it almost looks like a cheese grater kind of, where it's like one flat blade, and then you take a vegetable, and then you go ch-ch-ch-ch-ch-ch. So it's like a board with a blade on it, and the blade is adjustable, so it lets you control the thickness of something. Okay? So I hope that was a good demonstration. In fact, the best way to show this to you would be to show you a cheese grater. You know this side of a cheese grater? Right, this like flat side, okay? A mandolin would essentially be that, except it's a much higher quality steel. It's really sharp, and you get to adjust the height of it so that you get to adjust the thickness. And I would love to own a mandolin. They're just kind of a death trap for your fingers. Chef, when you shave slices, do you float the blade or do you let part of the edge ride on the board? Always float it. If the edge rides the board, that means you went down too much too quickly. The idea is you want to get, if we start at the base of the onion, we want it to finish at the tip perfectly, right? So we start up here perfectly all the way through. So that's the ultimate goal that we're trying to hit. Start at the base and we go all the way through. Does that answer your question, Turina? So that one was a little too thick. Too much vertical force that time. That's okay. Let's pop them out. Let's take it and let's slice it. Beautiful. Look at that. Awesome. Okay, and take it and we slice it. There you go. So guys, the onions are gonna get the boiling water poured on them, and that's going to immediately cook them so that they're not too harsh. If your onions are too thick, you will have raw onions. You need paper thin onions because once we plate this up again and we pour the boiling hot stock on it, that will just immediately cook them through. Okay, there you go. There you go. Oh, there you go. Too much vertical force. Look at those nice thin onions, my friends. Those are the kinds of slices that I want for today, okay? There you go, all the way through. And guys, pho is the kind of a dish that is also a really good home dish, specifically chicken pho. And it's also the kind of a dish that you can impress somebody with because of the amount of flavor that it has, everybody. The seasonings, the spices, everything about it is just a really beautiful, majestic dish. Okay, I am going to say that we should stop here because at this point, this part is too wobbly. Okay, so you see it just easily flips over like that. So it's a little unsafe. Okay, let's go ahead and grab a little plate to put this on. Get a little plate, get a little guy. And so this is not going to be a part of the garnish. Again, this is going to get cooked by the boiling water. The garnish plate will be an entirely separate construct. Okay, there you go. All of my lovely onions, nice and sliced up. Okay, next thing that we're going to do, guys, we're going to go ahead and soak my noodles. So let's talk about this actually. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get a kettle. I'm going to fill it up with some nice boiling water. And we'll talk about the kind of noodles I'm using and why those are the kind of noodles I'm using. Is everybody still watching? I want to hear a nice yes, chef. Please and thank you. Filling up my water. There you go. Okie dokie. So guys, here are the noodles that I'm going to be using today. These are just plain old vermicelli noodles. Now, this is not the exact kind of noodle that you would use in a pho. If you go out to a Vietnamese restaurant, this is not the kind that you would use, excuse me. This is the kind of a noodle that you would typically see in noodle bowls or maybe something stuffed inside of a summer roll. Why am I using this kind of noodle? I'm using this kind of noodle because this is what I already had. Is it 100% authentic to a pho that you would get at a restaurant in the United States to use this kind of noodle? No. But we are using what we have first and foremost. If you're using thin vermicelli rice noodles like me, what I've learned is these just need boiling water on them, and we don't need to cook them after that. We pour in boiling water, and it just naturally cooks that way. Okay? If you have thicker noodles, they might need additional boiling. So, if you want to buy rice noodles to go and make a pho with, go buy the traditional shape, Google what that looks like, and go find that at your local Asian grocery store. If you already have some type of rice noodles, use those first, my friends. Use those first, even if it's not optimal, even if it's not ideal, because at the end of the day, what it means to cook at home is to first and foremost use what you have. I don't cook Vietnamese food all the time. I don't need these kinds of noodles in my pantry all the time. And so it's gonna be my goal to use them all up. And we have a bunch of noodles in here, and my goal is to get about 3 to 4 portions. And so we're gonna go ahead and get them into a nice big bowl, and we will soak them, my friends. Does anybody have any questions for me in the meantime? So all of my vermicelli noodles, all of them will just go right in here. They're a little difficult to get out of the package. Some of them will. I got some on the floor. That's okay. I'm not upset about it. It's fine. It's not a big deal, guys. This bowl might be a little too small. Okay. So let's go ahead and do this one. Is there any recipe that calls for MSG? Really good question, gods. The answer is yes. A lot of traditional Chinese cooking, mainland Chinese cooking calls for MSG. It's really, really oftentimes used as a spice. And when I say traditional, I do mean like 1900s. I don't really think MSG existed before then. So the answer is yes, absolutely it does. Okay guys, so all of my rice noodles are in here, a nice big bowl that will be able to accommodate all of them, and we're going to soak these in the boiling water. If you use a thicker type of rice noodle, you will need additional boiling time. In my case, because these guys are so thin, the plain old boiling water from the kettle is going to be enough. This is a carbon steel knife. I need to go ahead and rinse it off and wipe it so that it doesn't rust. You typically have stainless steel knives. My knives are carbon steel. And as a result, they got to be babysit. So I'm going to rinse that off and I'm going to go ahead and dry it off. Wow, my pressure cooker still just hasn't built up pressure yet. So meaning it's going to be a minimum of another 30 minutes. Everybody, I apologize if we're gonna have some downtime today. It looks like we're gonna have some downtime today. So that's how it goes, you know, such is how it goes. Chef, what are rice noodles? Used in your last stream. So what are rice noodles and how they're made? Oh, I don't actually think I know how rice noodles are made, because typically with doughs, right, if you're thinking about like egg noodles, right, you make a dough, you knead it, and then you extrude it or you cut it and then you dry it. As far as how rice noodles are made, I don't actually know. I don't think it's made in the same exact way. I think what they do is they take the starch out of rice, if I'm not mistaken. They take the starch out of it and then they cook it and then they take some water out of it. So honestly, I really want to be able to tell you, but I don't think it's just made with just straight rice flour like that, right? You take rice, you grind it, and then you have to like take all of there's stuff in there that's not just pure starch. And I believe rice noodles are just made from pure starch. So, you know, yes, downtime is perfect for AMAs. That's right, Two Dads Kissing. Thank you for the reminder. Okay, I'm wiping off my knife, making sure that it's nice and dry. Guys, my kettle is coming up to a boil. I'm also gonna go ahead and get some scallions out of the fridge while I have a second of time. Ooh, I have some ginger in my fridge that was like molding. Get them out of here. Throw them away. How old is this piece of ginger? Oh, that is ancient. Gosh. Okay. Everybody, my kettle has now officially come up to a big old rolling boil. And so, we're gonna make sure that all of my noodles here are submerged. If you don't stir them within the first 5 minutes, they will end up sticking to each other. So you have to agitate them every few minutes after the first few minutes, and then you'll be okay. So all of my rice noodles, I wanna make sure that they're all nice and covered with the power of my kettle. Okay? And I'm just gonna grab, I don't know, any tool. I'll just use some chopsticks or something, just to make sure that everything is nice and submerged evenly. Okay, everybody? And we just gotta set a timer for like 3 minutes or so, just to continue to agitate it. In 3 minutes, we have to agitate it again so that it doesn't stick to each other, so that it doesn't clump up. If you're using thicker kinds of rice noodles, just pouring boiling water on them isn't going to be enough to cook them through. Pouring boiling water on them works because my noodles are so thin. These are really, really thin rice stick vermicelli, guys, okay? So we poured it on, and we gotta go ahead and just do that. Lovely. And then afterwards, we'll be getting a garnish plate ready with some cilantro, with some scallions. It'll be really lovely. And then we'll also poach the chicken. Look at that. What could be worse? These rice noodles sticking together, the lasagna noodles? Oh, the lasagna noodles, that was a real tragedy, Serena. That was a problem. Okay, so guys, I'm gonna just set that behind me. Again, we'll just agitate it in about 3 minutes or so. And then it will all be okay. Is everybody still watching? I want to hear the nice yes, chef. So my onions are nice and sliced. I'm going to put that behind me. I have no use for that right now. And we will now continue to assemble the rest of my garnish plate. Okie dokie. Let's go ahead and get my herbs out of the fridge, my scallions out of the fridge. Let's get them all out. So guys, what do we have here? This is one of the most magical and one of the most important ingredients of the pho, and it's something that only gets added towards the end. This, guys, is some lovely, some fresh Thai basil right here. Okay? Thai basil is different from plain old Italian basil. And so let's talk about some of the differences, and let's talk about why it's even different to begin with. Thai basil has almost a licoriceiness to it. Now, they taste similar, but they're not exactly the same. This just has a couple of aromatic and it just has some stuff in it that smells different from regular basil, okay? Where can you find Thai basil? You can find this at your local Asian grocery store, at a Chinese grocery store. They will typically have a nice big bunches of Thai basil. So let's talk about how do we actually keep basil fresh for a long time. And let me talk about something that I think is complete nonsense. Also, Sunny Peach Crush, I did not see the Northern Lights. I'm gonna go on a bit of a food rant, okay? So, I'm gonna have a little sip of water. I have something to talk about. Chat, I have a question. How many times have you seen somebody say that you can keep basil, you can keep cilantro fresh by sticking it in a jar with some water and you put the leaves on top? Like you do like a little vase? a vase like you would flowers, right? They set up a little jar, a couple of inches of water, and they put in some basil and cilantro. How many of you have seen something like that? You see this all over the internet. You Google, how do I keep basil fresh? My basil keeps on going bad. Okay, let me tell you something about that. Personally, I think it's complete nonsense. I think it's complete nonsense. I've tried doing this several times over the course of my 21 years of being alive. Every single time, it ends up wilting really fast. Buying fresh herbs can be difficult inside of a home setting because of the fact that they do go bad quite quickly. But let me talk to you about how I keep it fresh. Also, that timer, that's telling us to do what? We gotta agitate the noodles. Thank goodness I set a timer, otherwise I would have easily forgotten about it in the middle of my rant. My noodles are agitated and we're good to go. Here's what I do, guys. Paper towel, Tupperware, herbs, seal it up, lasts a week. The paper towel inside is this natural humidity regulator. So think of something like a silica packet. It stops it from being too wet, and if it's too wet, it really starts drooping, and then it also stops it from drying up as well. So guys, once again, Tupperware, paper towel, fresh herbs. That is how I keep so much cilantro fresh for an entire week. How do I wash my herbs? I use one of my favorite tools, guys. This is the salad spinner. Okay? The salad spinner. I wash it, I soak it, and then I run it through my salad spinner, and I go ahead and I dry it up. I put it into a little container with some paper towels, and then it's all good to go. Okay? Again and again, I think that method of putting herbs into a jar with some water, I think it's complete nonsense. It has never worked for me. I have no idea why people say, I think it's something that people just say. And they say, oh, refrigerating basil kills the flavor. Guys, this is basil that I bought yesterday. I tried to put it out. It started wilting. I did my classic method. It's aromatic, it's delicious, it's beautiful, okay? So some lovely Thai basil. Again, if you don't have access to Thai basil, Italian basil will be okay. But again, any Chinese grocery store, any Asian grocery store worth its salt should carry it. The reason why I'm not specifying Vietnamese is because there's just not a lot of Vietnamese specific grocery stores in the United States. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this ready for my garnish plate today. All that I'm gonna do, guys, as always, I'm just gonna pick off some of the leaves. And in fact, I think I might have taken out a few too many. I think I'm only gonna need this much for today. Something like that. Chef, what is holy basil? Trina, I've actually heard the ingredient holy basil before. I actually have no idea what it is. So I'm sorry if that's not very helpful. I actually just don't know what holy basil is. So chef, should I watch anyone else or are you my only reliable cooking source? Not at all. So in the world of food content, there's a lot of people out there that are incompetent and doing it in bad faith too. I think that there's also some really nice gems out there. Some really, really beautiful gems out there. Specifically, one of my favorite channels, Chinese Cooking Demystified. Chinese Cooking Demystified goes into the regional, like really specific regional dishes. They talk about the history of it. They talk about home adaptations. They talk about substitutions. Chinese Cooking Demystified is hands down one of the best cooking channels on YouTube. One of the best. It is incredible. The next one, I love Internet Shaquille. Internet Shaquille, really, really good cooking educational content. I love the way that he does content. He does content as he pleases on any topic that he likes. Any topic that he might be fascinated by, he talks about his methods as somebody that is cooking. And so I've taken a lot of inspiration from him specifically in, the kind of thing that I would like to be doing with my live streams, even if it's not a one-to-one. So I love Mr. Shaquille. Who else do I like? I like watching Pasta Grannies sometimes because it's just fun watching old people cook. There's this really nice Georgian cooking channel, this lady who lives in New York. I forgot the name of her channel. Trash Can Cat Mom. I know you know the channel I'm talking about. If you can tell me who that is really quickly. Okay. And then, who else do I also really, really like? I love Mangchi. Mangchi is my go-to resource for any kind of Korean cooking. So those are the kinds of channels that I love. Even if Mangchi might be a little content-y, even if she might repeat some stuff every year or so, I think she just does good work. Okay, guys, here is all of my lovely basil for today. And guys, the smell of fresh Thai basil. It is so aromatic. It is so almost like licoricey. It is really beautiful. You cannot have a pho without some Thai basil, okay? And so I'm gonna go ahead and get some of it here. And again, if you don't have Thai basil, some people just do cilantro, but Thai basil is just so gorgeous. Okay, Georgian cuisine at Tamara's table. Thank you, Trash Can Cat Mom. Okay, all of my basil. And now let's go ahead and do the same thing and process up my cilantro. And I'm keeping the stems because I'll be using these stems to actually poach my chicken. Okay, so let's go ahead and get some cilantro out. I'm not gonna need that much cilantro for today anyhow. Only a little teeny tiny bit. No food wishes mentioned. I like Chef John's voice. I think his content is cozy, but I wouldn't consider him an incredible resource for things. I think sometimes, especially with a lot of quote-unquote ethnic dishes, he's done a lot of not very good interpretations, IMO. And so I'm not the craziest about Chef John's content, as relaxing as I may find it. Also, Natalie, I don't know what that is. Okay, guys, we're gonna go through this and we're just gonna go ahead and pluck them down. So guys, once again, the ones that I really, really love, I love Internet Shaquille, I love Chinese Cooking Demystified, I love Tamada's Table, Mangchi, and Pasta Grannies. Those are all really, really fun for me. Pasta Grannies is more like, I like seeing, I guess I like learning about like the history and the different regionality of some Italian cooking and some Italian pastas. Right, that's like the best way to get it. Listening to old people talk about food, guys, honestly, pretty incredible. They have so much understanding of like the region of like where this thing comes from, and they can tell you a lot about how they ate it growing up as well. It's really excellent. Okay. And all of my cilantro, guys, we're just gonna get it nice and plucked. Now, it depends. Some Vietnamese restaurants, they don't give you cilantro. Some of them do. Some of them just do the basil. Again, it's entirely up to you. The reason why I'm using cilantro today is because I already had some. Okay? So, I'm continuing to pluck off all the leaves just to make my life a little easier, and we'll be using the stems, again, for poaching my chicken. Keep plucking, keep plucking. Keep it all plucking, guys. Pluck, 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 pluck. All the way through. These leaves are getting a little yellow. They're getting a little old. Okay, and there you go. Okay, awesome. These leaves, I'm gonna go ahead and put it onto my garnish plate. Food is the only way you connect with the old people? Yeah, honestly, it gives you a very, very nice way to. I used to like binging with Babish. Oh, Pseudonatural, I got a lot of mean things to say about binging with Babish, I'm afraid to say. Okay, here's all of my stems. This is going to be used to flavor the chicken, or rather the chicken cooking liquid as it cooks. And then I'm also going to go ahead and grab a couple of garlic cloves because, again, I'll just be poaching my chicken separately. Just to make sure that everything gets done in time, I'm just going to go ahead and grab 2 garlic cloves. Garlic, again, that's always the most traditional in pho, but I'm using it because I just want to have my chicken be seasoned with something so it doesn't just cook in plain old water. Okay, and I'm just giving it a slight crush. Why am I giving it a crush? Because I would like to go ahead and get these skins off. Let's get all of those skins off, all of them off, all of them out of here. Get them out of here, we have no use for them. Okay. Okay, there you go. What else am I gonna need to do? I'm gonna go ahead and just get, I'm gonna go ahead and get my pot ready for this. Guys, here's all of my rice noodles. Again, I forgot to agitate them a little bit, but that's okay. You can see how much they've swelled up because we added in that boiling water. So they've swelled up, they're soaking up all that liquid, they're getting nice and cooked through, and I'm just going to agitate them slightly, and again, make sure that they're not sticking to each other. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and grab a little pot. J. Kenji Lopez Alt. Dr. Slowbro, can't believe I forgot to mention J. Kenji Lopez Alt. J. Kenji Lopez Alt was the first person that really got me going, wow, nobody makes cooking content as good as J. Kenji Lopez Alt. He was a real innovator. At that time on YouTube, nobody was doing that. Also, sometimes if I'm feeling a little fancy, I love watching Chef Steps. Chef Step stuff is really like high level. Most of it is not very accessible at home, but there's some stuff there that I do take away. So guys, cute little pot. What do we do with this bad boy? We're going to go ahead and put in my lovely pieces of chicken. Okay? So my chicken breasts, my chicken tenders, and my chicken thighs. Guys, we're not boiling this chicken. I need you all to understand this. We're not boiling it. We're not going to cook this chicken to death. Instead, we're just going to be gently poaching it. We started off in some nice cold water. Because if you started off in boiling water, the outside of it is going to become chalky and overcooked. My friends, we poach chicken in this household. Can I please get a yes, chef? We don't boil chicken. If you boil chicken, it becomes chalky and overcooked. You know that texture of chalky, overcooked chicken where it's all dry and crumbly? It sucks. It is unpleasant to eat. It's for nobody at all. So instead, we poach it, my friends. Poaching and boiling, 2 very different things. And some people will look at it and go, oh, Daramgar, you're just boiling your chicken. Not at all. Not in the slightest. Okay, so guys, we take the chicken, we put it into the water. We don't have to worry about seasoning this too much because again, the broth will be incredibly flavorful. All I'm gonna do, just take it, and remember, never bring it up to a boil. Oh, my lip ring almost fell off. Never bring it up to a boil. Never, never, never. I only wanna see the gentlest, and I mean the gentlest of little bubbles. Okay? Chef, is there a meaningful difference between a poach and a boil? So I would classify, so there is no scientific difference, but the way that most chefs would call a poach would be just something barely simmering, just below a simmer, okay? When you simmer something, you're typically simmering a liquid, and the thing that's inside of that simmering liquid is what we call poaching. Okay, so guys, my chicken, my garlic, and my basil stems, as well as my cilantro stems, just because I had them, it's just going to make the chicken a little bit more aromatic, and those were waste products that we already had to begin with. Okay, guys, we gotta go ahead and slice up some scallion for today as well. I have these lovely little scallions, and we're also going to repurpose the scallion roots and just throw that inside as well. These have been thoroughly washed. It's a nice little byproduct that we get, and we get to make the most out of it by putting it back into the water. Again, we don't have to worry about seasoning the chicken too much. The broth is gonna be seasoned. The broth is the heart and the soul of a good pho, my friends. Ooh, those noodles are looking good. They're getting nice and hydrated. I could have probably covered them with even more boiling water. They're like a little floating to the top, but that's okay. We just gotta keep those guys soaking. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this because we have no more use for this, guys. Let's get rid of it. Let's go ahead and put it away. And let us slice my scallions. Guys, I wanna get some nice, beautiful slices of scallion. I'm gonna cut these on a really, really aggressive bias. So what does it mean to cut something on a bias? This would be just cutting it flat. This is cutting it straight. And to cut something on a bias is angling this or angling your knife. I wanna get these big, beautiful, like shrapnels of scallion to be able to garnish my pho with. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that now. The green part I'm gonna do separately. This guy, he's kind of springing up, so I'm gonna cut him in half. Make my life easier. Okay, so let's take a look. Cut it on a nice, 2 at a time probably. Nice aggressive bias, and guys, thin. In fact, my chef's knife might be a little bit too big for me here. So we're just gonna use my petty knife instead for such a task. And nice thin, 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 thin. And guys, look at those beautiful, lovely shrapnels of scallion. Why am I cutting it this big? Because I just want to see it. I want it to look pretty, okay? I want it to look beautiful, and this is how we make it look beautiful. Is everybody still watching? I want to hear a nice yes, chef. So guys, again, my chicken, it's gently poaching. And we have to be really, really careful what we're taking out of the water first. In my case specifically, we're gonna first take out the chicken tenders. The chicken tenders need the least amount of time to cook because it's white meat. Then afterwards, we'll be taking out the chicken breasts, and then last but not least, the chicken thighs. Okay? Again, the chicken thighs, they need the most amount of time, the chicken tenders, they need the least, and the chicken breast right down the middle. We won't be exact, I think we could use a temperature probe. Won't poaching it take a long time? Boozy Bee, honestly, these chicken breasts, these chicken thighs, they're so thin that I don't think it's going to be more than 20 minutes of poaching for at least a chicken breast. So normally, yes, but this specific chicken had very, very thin breasts. If it had any thicker ones, I would have started this process a lot sooner. So I hope that answers your question. So guys, take a look. Look at all of my lovely, beautiful shrapnel of scallion. We're not chopping. We are slicing. We're using the full most length of the knife all the way through, guys. Look at all those lovely scallions. And now we're going to go ahead and put that onto our garnish plate. Once again, take it, grab it, and onto my garnish plate. Beautiful. Okay, what is the next thing that we're going to want on this garnish plate? Let's go ahead and grab some lovely bean sprouts. These bean sprouts, guys, they provide that crunch that you desperately want inside of a lovely bowl of pho. And this is the way that it's presented, right? You get a big bowl of all these different accoutrements, all these different things that you could put onto your pho, and then you get to pick and choose what you would like. Some people, they do it a little bit differently, but this is what you present to somebody alongside the soup, okay? Keep bean sprouts the same way as the herbs. Turina, I have no idea. I bought these yesterday. I just kept them in the fridge as is, and they're fine. I don't really buy bean sprouts that often. I don't really ever know what to do with them, besides for something like a pho. So, Turina, I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. If they go slimy, that is an indication that yes, your environment is a little too wet for them. So, Turina, give it a shot. Give it a shot and let me know how it goes. Okay. And guys, last but not least, let's go ahead and get some lime wedges. I have a lovely little lime right here. Some people do lime, some people do lemon. Okay, in my case, because I have lime, I'm gonna do lime. We'll just go ahead and cut this into some nice little wedges for us. There you go. And there you go. Awesome. All of my lovely little lime wedges. Okay, guys, and take a look, please. This is all of the stuff that is going to go into the pho. We have some Thai basil here for that aromatic quality, as well as some cilantro. Some people, they just do the basil, some people do both, some people just do cilantro. It is entirely up to you in that capacity. Although for me personally, I cannot do without Thai basil. Then we have some scallions in there for that nice little aromatic quality. Okay, we have some bean sprouts in here for the crunch, and then we have some lovely lime wedges for the acidity. This is all just going to get plated and served alongside the pho. Okay, and then you get to go ahead and pick and choose which condiments that you would like as well. Now, pho is also traditionally either served, well, with both sriracha and with hoisin sauce. But let's talk about this really quickly. I'm gonna go off on a bit of a rant, so I'm gonna need all of your attention, guys. Okay? I need your full attention. I need to hear a nice yes, chef, please, and thank you from everybody watching. Okay, how many times have you personally gone out to pho, or maybe with somebody else? I need to hear yes, chef from everybody. I do mean absolutely everybody. That's better. How many times have you gone out to pho with somebody, or maybe that you did this yourself? You have a little sip of the broth and you're like, this is good. And then you immediately go in and you start pouring in a bunch of hoisin sauce and a bunch of sriracha. Right directly into the soup, directly into the broth. How many of you have done something like that? How many? Be honest. Nice little show of hands. I want to hear some me chefs. Okay? I don't do this, but I've seen many people do it. Serena, you do it? Okay. Never? Good. I like that, Shai Chica. Okay. Does that mean you don't use these condiments? No. I do not want you to pour this directly into the soup because you put so much effort, so much time into making the soup. It is the equivalent of dumping in a bunch of barbecue sauce into a chicken soup. Guys, instead, the way that pho is eaten, the way that pho is traditionally consumed is like this. You have a spoon. This isn't the exact kind of spoon that you would use, but that's okay. You would have a spoon, and then you would also have some chopsticks. You would take a little piece of meat, okay? You take a little piece of meat, and then you can go ahead and eat it up like this, and then this is the spoon is used to actually slurp up the soup. You take a little bit of hoisin sauce or a little bit of sriracha, and you put it directly into the spoon, and you take the meat and you dip it inside. That way, you get to have the flavor of the condiments that you like, instead of just saturating your entire soup with what is basically barbecue sauce. It's like dumping in barbecue sauce inside of your chicken soup. So, I don't love doing that. I don't think that you guys should be doing that either. That's not to say that there's no Vietnamese people that don't do that either, but purely from a culinary standpoint, I look at that and it masks everything that you've put into it. It masks all of the spices. It masks all of the herbs. The goal of the sauces, for me at least personally, is to go ahead and flavor the meat. At the end of the day, I can't tell you how to eat this thing. If you like eating it that way, then so be it. But please try this method first. Try just putting a little bit of sriracha, put a little bit of hoisin sauce in your spoon, dip it inside, and eat it, okay? And it will be just fine. I promise you it'll be just okay, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and put these chopsticks back. We're not gonna need this for quite some time. Guys, we're gently poaching the chicken now. It's happening, it's coming together. It's all looking really, really good, okay? Does anybody have any questions for me in the meantime? We have done basically everything that we've really needed to for today. I've kind of run out of tasks. This doesn't normally happen anymore. Normally I keep myself so busy that there's always something for us to be doing, but right now we're just kind of waiting for the soup to be done. We're waiting for the chicken to poach. Okay, guys, let's look at the chicken. You can see that it's beginning to just barely bubble. It is barely bubbling. In fact, I could probably go a little closer to it. It's a little far away still. Okay. Will this be a short stream? I believe so, Shai Chica. Chefs should brainstorm some downtime tasks. Yeah, normally I would like to plan so that I don't have any downtime whatsoever, right? But that's okay too. Downtime in a Daramgar stream, I know, any more likely than you would actually think. So guys, take a look. Look at the way that this is bubbling. Look how much it's bubbling. Also, we want to go ahead and dunk that back inside. We don't want any pieces floating to the top, okay? So just take it and inside it goes. Is that like an eggshell? I don't know what that is. Okay, take it and just make sure that everything is nice and submerged. Okay, because if it's not, it's just not going to cook evenly. Guys, this is just about the temperature of the water that we want to keep it at. We never want to see it bubbling over. We never want to see an aggressive boil. If you're aggressively boiling the chicken, you're going to overcook the outside before the inside is done. Why did we keep the skin intact? We kept the skin intact to basically protect the flesh that is on the inside. The skin is like a little extra layer of separation between that hot water and that flesh inside. It's going to stop it from becoming chalky. This gentle cook, guys, is exactly what I'm looking for. And don't worry about this water becoming scummy. We could skim it if we would like. Also, fat is flavor. Yeah, fat is flavor, absolutely. The chicken skin is nice and fatty. It's going to be nice and delicious. So, guys, we are slowly, and I do mean slowly, poaching that chicken breast, slowly poaching that chicken thigh, okay? If you would like, again, we can just go through the top and clean it up. Even though we're not eating this broth at all, this water is purely for flavoring the chicken today. It might be a little wasteful, but let's just go ahead and, let's just skim it because we need something to do. Poaching 20 minutes after the bubbles start. Tarina, it all depends on the width of your breasts. It depends on the width of your meat. It depends on how thick it is. Depends on the size of the bird overall. So I'd honestly say there is no exact amount of time here. Usually I do at least 15 minutes for the breasts once the bubbling does begin. And so guys, take a look. That is not bubbling gently. That is now boiling. That is not what I want. I don't want it to boil. So we just lower the heat, and we stop it from boiling. And why am I skimming off the scum? There is no good reason for me to do this. Sure, it stops some of it from settling on the meat, but at the moment, the only reason why is so that I have something for us to do. Just a fun little cooking task that I've come up with for myself in these trying times. Okay. Okay, yeah, something like that, and that should be okay. Guys, this is a good time for questions. I know, I'm so sorry. I did not prepare for today nearly as much as I should have in regards to just making sure that we have enough things to do. So again, any and all cooking questions, it can be about me, it can be about my personal life, it can be about anything that you would like. We got a little bit of time to kill today, unfortunately, which doesn't always happen for us. So, how's my day going? I gotta say, Shai Chica, very good. I had a meeting this morning, I got laundry done, I got dishes done, very busy. White or yellow onions? Very good question. Let me tell you right now, Boozy, I just do with whatever type of onion is cheaper. Whatever kind of onion is cheaper. Because especially as they cook down, I will say the differences between a lot of different kinds of onions, it does become very insignificant. Okay, Chef, do you ever do desserts on the show? The answer is no. I'm going to talk to you why. The reason why I don't really do desserts on the show, first of all, for my own personal diet and the kinds of things that I eat, I try to avoid any sort of added sugar in the things I eat. Now, I know that this pho does have a little bit of rock sugar inside of it, but generally speaking, I don't want to go out of my way too much to eat things that are explicitly sweet. Because in life, in so many different things, we have so much sugar from so many different places that we get plenty of it as it is. Also pseudo-natural. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you have a good night. The other thing is, for me specifically, a lot of desserts, especially Western desserts, a lot of Western pastry baking, a lot of Western cake making, it doesn't feel like cooking for me. And people say, oh, it's not cooking, it's science. That's not why. The reason why it doesn't feel like cooking for me is because it doesn't feel like we're actually using ingredients. We're using a bunch of very refined things to get a very refined product. Instead of having something that really tastes like sugar, right, like the cane sugar, okay, you get refined white sugar. That refined white sugar, it tastes like sucrose. It tastes completely sweet, and all of its originality, all of the thing that made it taste like that ingredient is essentially gone. We use flour that has been typically bleached. You use white flour, okay? White flour so that it's really, really tender, but it doesn't taste like the wheat anymore. You get rid of all the bran, you get rid of all the germ from it, okay? And then you get the super refined product that you're only keeping around for both its gluten and its starch. The reason why I don't love a lot of dessert making, and that's not to say that all dessert making is like this, but the majority of Western dessert making, baking pastries, baking cakes, is a bunch of hyper-refined products that don't taste like the thing they originally tasted as, that you're only using for their function. And that is not the way that I like to approach cooking. I want to be able to feel all of my ingredients. I want to be able to taste all of my ingredients. I don't add ingredients in to fulfill a very specific singular function. Okay? They all exist within the context of each other. And so, gods, that's why I'm not that crazy about pastry. That's not why I'm that crazy about desserts. There are some desserts that I would love to be able to do. What about a mild dessert? So, I don't know what you mean about a mild dessert. So actually, we could also just do a recap session in the meantime. Guys, we have a pho broth going. At the moment, it has about 5 minutes left on it. That's all of our chicken pieces, all of our spices, some fish sauce, some sugar, okay? Currently, we have poaching my chicken breast and my chicken thigh so that they're perfectly cooked. I'm gonna set a timer for about 10 minutes and then I'll inspect it. Maybe we'll even put a temperature probe to them. We gently poach it so that it doesn't overcook and become really, really chalky. Okay, additionally, I have this gorgeous garnish plate all set up and all ready to go. These are all of our toppings, guys, that are going to be present in our pho today. And let's talk about these guys. Why are we including each of these? Well, we have some Thai basil here. This is the thing that you really taste a lot of in pho. It's really aromatic, it's really delicious. It differs from your typical Italian basil, even though there is a lot of types of basil out there, because it's a little bit licoricey. We have some bean sprouts here for the crunch. We have some limes for the acidity. We have some scallions in there for that allium flavor. And then we also have some lovely cilantro for that freshness. We have this really, really beautiful assortment of herbs and vegetables. Then guys, we also have some paper thin sliced onions. And I do mean paper thin. Look at these bad boys. These are so thin, they're perfectly cut, okay? And why did we cut them this thin? The idea is this: we set up a noodle bowl. It's gonna have noodles, it's gonna have some chicken, it's gonna have some sliced onions. We pour on boiling stock. We pour on boiling stock so that it basically immediately cooks through the onions. If these onions were not paper thin, we would have a bunch of raw onions, and that is not what we're looking for. We're looking for the boiling water once we assemble everything to basically cook it all through, okay? And so that's what we have going on, as well as this big heap of rice noodles that we've just had soaking, my friends. Now, once again, this isn't the traditional kind of rice noodle. This isn't the traditional kind of vermicelli that you would typically see for a pho. For a pho, you would see typically some thicker noodles. The reason why I'm using rice stick vermicelli instead is because that is what I already had at home. And what it means to cook at home is to always first use what you have before you go and buy something else. Can we do the onions like 2 hours beforehand? Yeah, Serena, that should be okay. Just checking for they've done this. And when we pour on the boiling stock, that would finish cooking them too. But yeah, these look good. Ideal hot dog toppings. For me personally, I love some kind of like either tomato onion or caramelized onion. I love a pickle, and I love a bunch of like spicy mustard. Like really, really strong flavors like that. That's what I love. Don't love ketchup too much. I'd prefer like tomato onions instead. And I hate, you know what I hate about hot dogs? Okay, I don't want to completely dismiss an entire style of hot dog. However, a lot of the Brazilian hot dogs, a lot of the Argentinian hot dogs that I've eaten, they're super like topping, like heavy. Right, they have a lot of different toppings, they have a lot of different crunchy things on it, and it all falls apart as soon as you bite into it. For me, I want a hot dog that's convenient to eat. I want a burger that's convenient to eat. I don't want it to be so saturated with toppings that it all completely falls apart whenever you take a little bite into it. Boozy B, that's not so true anymore. I really wouldn't say that most hot dogs are like that. Right, okay. How's this going, guys? It's gently poaching. It's gently cooking. Again, the water is not boiling. It is only gently, ever so slightly bubbling up. Okay? And I think now is going to be a pretty decent time for us just to check the internal temperature of the meat. Okay? I just want to make sure that it is not too overcooked. The chicken breast, I'm looking for about 150 degrees, 155. The chicken tender is the same, and the chicken thighs around 170 or so. And they're all going to cook fairly at the same time because, again, of how thin they are. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my temperature probe. I would really love an instant read thermometer. Hint, hint, exclamation mark, wish list. Those guys, those Thermopens, they're a little bit expensive, but they're really nice. Okay, so let's go ahead and just get a little temperature reading on it. Oh, and my pressure cooker is done. I'm going to release the pressure. The broth is ready. I'm excited to show you all my beautiful chicken stock. Okay, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab one little teeny tiny chicken breast and we'll poke it right down the middle. Oh guys, I think this chicken breast, it's already registering at like 175. Wait, guys, this meat might be just like already cooked. That is how thin it is. This meat is so thin that it's already all cooked through. Okay, I think we just take care of it. I'm going to check one more piece of meat just to make sure that it wasn't like that one chicken breast that was like being a little weird. Oh yeah, guys, I think we're golden. I think we're good. Yep, lovely. And I'm just gonna get it all the way into the center. Yeah, guys, my chicken, today, it just cooked through so fast, again, because of how thin it is. Let's go ahead and take it out and put it onto a plate. And it's gonna be a little dry, it's gonna be a little overcooked, more so than I would have liked it, but that's okay, because it's all gonna be going towards the soup. And guys, the pressure is releasing. The smell smells, it is a gorgeous smell that is flooding my kitchen at the moment. Okay, I'm gonna grab each and every single one of my pieces of meat here, and everything else can get discarded. This is my chicken thigh. This is my chicken breast. And then once it cools off, we'll just slice it up into the pieces that we want to eat. Here's my other chicken thigh. Oh, guys, the kitchen, as soon as that pressure is released, all of those spices, they smell amazing. Okay, so I know this is just plain old poached chicken, but it's still gonna be really pleasant. It's not chalky. It might be slightly overcooked temperature-wise, but it's still going to be perfect for us today. Come on, buddy, get all of those little fibers, get all those little stems off. Okay, and that's chicken tender number 1. And that's chicken tender number 2. Okay, everybody, all of my chicken is poached. Again, we gently cooked it, so we stopped that outside from becoming overcooked and really beaten to death. And I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of this pot because we have no use for it. And this pan I'll be putting into the sink. And then we'll be transferring everything over into this other pot. Guys, I have to quickly clean out this other pot before the pho comes out. Is everybody ready to see the pho? I want to hear a nice yes, chef. Now is the time to wake up. Wake up, because we're about to witness something really, truly beautiful. But first, I'm just going to go ahead and rinse out this pot with a little bit of soap and water, just to get all of that protein to come off of it, because I don't want to pull out another pot. I don't want to have to clean 3 pots today. I think it's a big old waste of time. Is everybody ready for this? I mean a yes, chef from everybody watching. Now is your time to wake up. I'm gonna go ahead and just tie up my hair really quickly. And let's dump this out. 1 second, everybody. We're almost there, I promise. I just gotta clean out this pot. Lovely. Okay. Just get all of that soap out of there because, guys, I don't think I want soap in my pho today, at least. Maybe another time we'll do a little bit of soap as a treat. Okay, guys, it is time for the great reveal of my pho. The stock that we have put so much effort, the stock that we have put so much love into. It should be beautiful. Oh, it smells incredible. It smells so, so aromatic, everybody. Guys, come on. Guys. This stuff right here, that's something to be proud of. That is beautiful. That color, it's amber, it's delicious, it's hot. It has all of that sugar. It has all of those spices inside of it. That has so, so much flavor. I can't even begin to tell you. Let's give it a little taste. Let's go ahead and give it the gentlest and the littlest of tastes just to see. We put so much effort into the stock, guys. Look at that color. That color is exactly what I was looking for. It needs some salt. Okay, it's gonna need some salt. I think it has plenty of sugar. It's gonna need some fish sauce, and then it's gonna be perfect. So guys, we need to go ahead and strain out the stock. The first thing that we're going to do is just first get out all of the big pieces. The only thing that we need to preserve in here is going to be the chicken legs. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those. So where are my little chicken legs? Come on, buddy. I'm looking for you. That's a chicken wing. That's a ginger piece. Where are my chicken legs? Chat. I found one. That's one. Awesome. And hopefully, no, not quite. Not quite. That's another chicken wing. I don't want my wings, I just want my legs. That's my neck. Guys, where is my other chicken leg? Okay, that is not it. I am so confused. How could I lose it in such a small pot? I'm losing it. I don't know where it is. Is that you, buddy? Is that you, little guy? It is him. Awesome. Okay, we got the last chicken leg out. And now we can discard all of this other stuff. Okay, let's go ahead, and now we gotta strain out all those solids. The first thing I'm gonna do directly into my waste bowl is I'm just gonna put out all of the big pieces, right? So I'm using this tool, it's called the spider. We're gonna get rid of the onion and the ginger and all of my bones, my big old cinnamon stick. All of it has to go, my friends. Everybody, please say thank you to the bones. Please say thank you to all of our lovely aromatics. They have all given themselves, all for the sake of making one beautiful pot of pho. They were sacrifices in the greater cause. So take it and strain it, and strain it, and strain it, and strain it. Let's keep as much of that delicious broth inside of the pot as possible. Okay, and then I'm just getting rid of all of the big pieces, and then we'll strain it out one more time. Beautiful. That is my pho broth, my friends. There it is. She's all ready to go for us. And now we'll have to strain it out into my other pot that I have all set up here. All ready to go. Let's put on my strainer. And let's strain him out. Okay? My nice clean pot that we just washed out. We're not going to need my spider anymore. Let's take it and let's dump it all inside. All into the pot, and we got to strain out all of those solids, my friends. All of them have to go through this. They all got to go, and we're going to go ahead and take the whole thing and bring it up to a nice big boil. There she is. Gorgeous. That is my pho broth, my friends. Look at that broth. It is golden. Look at that color. Huh? That's some good color on it. Let's take it, and we're going to bring this up to a nice big aggressive boil. Okay? We want to get this bubbling, and we want to get it nice and hot because we got to pour it over the noodles and we got to pour it over the onions. We still need to finish seasoning it. So nice big large heat. We're going to do a little pinch of salt, and then we'll do some more fish sauce, and we'll taste and adjust. Salt. It's a lot of stock, guys. It needs a lot of salt. Don't sleep on the salt, okay? And then fish sauce. We'll do a little drizzle of fish sauce, and then we'll see how it tastes after it comes back up to a boil, of course. Guys, look at that. Look at that color. Look at that broth, my friends. Do you have any idea how much flavor is inside of this thing? A couple of big old swishes of fish sauce inside. Gorgeous. And we're going to go ahead, and once again, everybody, we clean up our station. We got to clean it all up. Get all the stuff out of here that we do not need anymore because we are cooking at home, and so we got to stay organized. So I'm taking it, I've cranked up the heat, I'm going to bring it to a boil, but first we'll also give it a little taste because I'm looking for this thing to be nice and seasoned. I'm looking for it to be nice and aromatic. I'm looking for it to be nice and meaty. Let's give this a taste. Look at that stock, guys. Oh, beautiful. Guys, that is so good. That is so good, my friends. It's gonna need some more salt for sure, though. Definitely some more salt. Because again, I want this broth seasoned, okay? I don't want it to be bland at all. But that is good. That's really good stuff. Let's go ahead and do some of the final processing. Okay, one of the last things that we need to do, we gotta go ahead and strain out all of the water from my rice noodles. And we gotta rinse it out with some nice warm water as well to stop it from sticking. Okay? My rice noodles are perfectly cooked. In fact, I'll just use the same strainer as before. I'm just going to need to rinse it out slightly just to get all of those little bones and all the stuff off of it. Just in the interest of, once again, I would like to be using less dishes when I cook. I go through an egregious amount of dishes. I should be like cleaning things on the fly sometimes. I think I might have added a little too much rock sugar for my taste. I will say that is my one complaint if I had to have one. I tasted and I was like, oh, this might be a little sweet, but that might also just be because it's not fully balanced at the moment. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just quickly strain out all of my rice noodles. So everybody, please bear with me while I get all that done, and it's gonna be lovely. Guys, look at that broth. It's coming up to a nice big old boil. It's gonna be delicious. And I'm straining out my rice noodles. Okay. Get all of that water out of it, guys, because all it's going to do is just dilute the broth. Okay. Everybody, we are almost ready to begin assembling. You see how the broth is boiling? You see how it's boiling aggressively? That's what we need. Flavorful, delicious, sweet. You know, guys, that little bit of salt, that really did help to balance it all out. It's almost there. I think I'm going to do a little bit more salt. And we're going to just slightly concentrate the flavors. Everybody, we are about to assemble. Can I please get a yes, chef? I want to make sure that all of you guys are watching for this part. Because it's all going to get pretty real pretty soon. Okay? We got to still slice up the meat. Get it all ready to go in a bowl. And then we can build it all. Okay? So, here's all of my rice noodles. I can just go ahead and put that aside for a second. Just letting it strain. So that, again, we get rid of all of that excess liquid. So that it's not bland. I'm going to take the chicken and we're going to slice it up. Guys, for today, I'm feeling for myself. I'll do a chicken breast and we'll do a chicken thigh. Maybe just one chicken breast. Chicken breast and chicken thigh. I think that'll be good. Let's go ahead and slice it up. Let's see. How am I going to slice it? Let's do it against the grain. So all the way through the skin, just like that. All the way through. Okay, and let's also do my chicken thigh. We'll keep all of the skin on, all the bones. Well, no bones, but you know what I mean. Okay, that looks good. Let's go ahead and grab a nice big bowl. Guys, this is it. This is truly where the magic happens. Okay, here's what needs to happen. I'm gonna just grab my chicken really quickly. I'm gonna set it onto my plate of onions. I'm gonna get rid of this cutting board now because we have no more use for it. It's all about to happen, my friends. Everything is about to come together. It's all gonna happen in a flash. This is where I need everybody's attention. So, one more yes chef, the definitive yes chef. Maybe the final. I don't know how much more yes chefs I'm actually gonna need from all of you still. Okay? Guys, we're almost done. Let's take this, let's wipe off my station. Let's grab my noodles. And we're going to grab a nice big bundle of noodles and put them down. Right, guys? Nice big old bundle of noodles. And just put them, plop them directly inside. Because at the end of the day, guys, this is a noodle dish. So you're going to want plenty and plenty of these rice noodles. All of it inside. And what do we think? Is that going to be enough rice noodles for us? I'm going to do a little bit more. A little bit more. Put them all inside. Nice big bowl of noodles. Let's get rid of this. We don't need this anymore. Okay, guys? We're going to go ahead and we're going to layer in my chicken for this lovely bowl of pho. Here's my chicken meat. And then we're also going to layer in a bunch of my properly, finely shredded onions. And you can't have too many onions, guys, okay? You can never have too many. Okay? And now, guys, this is where we shut off the broth. This is where we submerge all of my noodles with that incredible stock that that's you and I, guys. We have worked so hard to develop this guy together. And we cover it. And we cover it all. The onions, we pour it directly over the onions because I wanted to cook the onions. Okay? All of those, a delicious, lovely broth right on top. And guys, we're not done quite yet. We are not done yet. We're not done because it is now time for us to garnish it all. okay? So this is my broth, this is my onions, and that is my chicken. I know it doesn't look that impressive quite yet, but guys, let's not forget all of this stuff right here. So first, we'll go ahead and do some basil. We'll take a couple of leaves of basil. We'll take it and we'll tear it up and put it directly inside. Some of my lovely, fresh Thai basil. All of it goes in. Just take it and just tear it up with your hands, because that's how it's done. All of that basil. Then let's go ahead and do some of my cilantro. Cilantro, same thing. Take it and tear it up, guys. Take it and tear it up. Take it and tear it up all the way on top. And then I'm gonna go ahead and grab a nice big spoon to eat this with. Hold on, we're not done yet, everybody. You gotta hold. Is everybody holding? Okay, this is how I like to do it. I like to put my herbs in, and then I mix in the herbs so that they properly infuse inside of the bowl of noodles. Well, not like that, at least. Hold on. That's a nice bowl. Thank you. Thank you, Taza. Okay, let's take it and we mix it all in because I want those herbs to infuse. And then I do a nice big mound of the bean sprouts. And then I do a bunch of my scallions. And then right on top, the way that I like it, guys, is a bunch of lime juice as well. Just right on top. And that, my friends, that is a big, beautiful bowl of homemade chicken pho. And then, here's how we do this. We take a little bit of sriracha, not inside of the pho itself. We take a little bit of sriracha on a separate spoon, just like this. And we go ahead and we grab a little bit of meat. I'm gonna start off with this lovely piece of chicken. And we take and we dip in the sriracha. Let's take a little bit more. Gosh, I will mix some in from the spoon because I want to taste some of the broth now. And guys, we'll taste the broth. Whoa. Guys. That is as good as it is in a restaurant. That is remarkable. That is remarkably delicious. Everybody, that is my homemade pho. Completely from scratch. So many different spices went inside. We started off with a whole chicken. We broke it down. We blanched the bones. We drained it off. We took it, we put inside of a pressure cooker pot. We put coriander seeds. We put fennel seeds. We put star anise. We put cloves, and we put in cinnamon. We added in charred ginger, charred onion, okay? And all of that alongside some fish sauce and some rock sugar. We let it pressure cook. We poached our chicken breast and our chicken thigh. We assembled this incredible garnish plate with lime juice and basil and cilantro and bean sprouts and scallions. And we layered it all in. And guys, the end result, it's sticky. It's clean because of the fact that we blanch it. No egg. No egg. Sometimes I feel like I've seen some fuzz with egg. But in this case, guys, we're keeping it real simple. Let's go ahead and grab some of the noodles now that they're drenched in all of it. All that good stuff. And, guys, there is so much love that went inside of this thing. And that's it. That actually was quite easy. And this was a fairly short stream, only 2 hours. Everybody, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. Next stream is going to be this Friday, 5 p.m. EDT as always, every Wednesday, every Friday, and every single Sunday. Join my Discord for those of you that haven't already done so, !Discord. Please support the Patreon. My goal is to be able to do this full time, and so any and all financial support on the Patreon will go a really long way. You can type in !Patreon. I'll see you all this Friday. Thank you for watching me make some pho. That's right, Audio Murphy. It is time for me to clean up my mess of a kitchen at the moment. I have a lot of dishes to clean. Thank you all for being here. I will see you in just a couple of days' time. Have a good Wednesday night. Be well, be safe, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.